Unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Yeah, only on Ethan.
Somebody about to get their wig split. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. How do you do? I am Rob Brown. Great to be back with you on a glorious Upstate Wednesday afternoon. We appreciate you spending your time with us and letting us spend our time with you. I am Rob Brown, sitting directly across the glass from me, literally and metaphorically, in charge of the broadcast, button switches, levers, knobs, gears, wheels, pulleys, and other applicable simple machinery that makes the show go is the great one, the alpha and the omega of ESPN Upstate. He is Lonzo. What up, so?
What a beautiful day. Had a good time already.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait to share our good time.
Oh, yeah. What'd you do this morning, Robinzo? You know, no big deal. Just spent 20 minutes on the phone with a all-time great WWE Hall of Famer and all-around legend, Mark Henry, the world's strongest athlete.
You forget to mention for those wrestling not a sport guys,
Literally the world's strongest man.
And the world's strongest man.
Literally the world's strongest man. And
yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
We talked to that guy.
And to make sure that we drove that point home, I would just like to point out that we did ask him questions about the Olympics, about weight training, about how he got to be the world's strongest athlete, et cetera, et cetera. That interview was coming up at 2:20 this afternoon. And on top of that, your boys this AM, because social media influence is how we determine whether or not you're successful in life in 2021. On top of all of that, your boys actually got the shout out on the All Elite Wrestling Twitter page this morning. They actually tweeted out a notification that Mark Henry will be joining us at 2:20 this afternoon and mentioned ESPN Upstate by name in front of their 761,000 followers. So, you know, it's no big deal, really, Lonzo. It's just another day in the life of the great one and Rob Brown. That's all.
Exactly it. You know, it's old hat. It's a normal thing.
Yeah, you know. Mark Henry called us. What do you want? It's not like we had anything better to do.
Yeah, we might be smiling the rest of the day. We might be.
You will be too when you hear that interview coming up at 2:20 this afternoon. 2:20 this afternoon. Texas said, Rob, please tell me what you I did not. Please tell me you asked him what comes on a hot dog. That slipped my mind, Lonzo. I have to apologize to our listeners out there because I have failed to do my due diligence. I have failed to do my job and ask Mark Henry the most important question that I ask almost every interview.
Let me just say, food is covered. It's definitely covered.
We did have food questions.
Yes.
So no worries. We did not screw the pooch entirely.
I guarantee you there was more than ketchup on a lot of that.
What are we talking about? Glad you asked, hypothetical listener. We made up for this situation. You will find out at 2:20 this afternoon when we will play you the interview that we did just a few minutes ago with the world's strongest athlete, Mark Henry of All Elite Wrestling. In the meantime, we have sports to talk about. So, Lonzo, let's talk about sports.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented. You guys here?
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
The lunch breakdown of 3 things you have to know before you start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog, whoever it is you spend your lunch break with. This will be the discussion. This shall be the scuttlebutt around the lunch table today. We start with item number 1 on the lunch breakdown. It is official. It was announced. Lonzo, I swear they have sent out an email around the country that says if you are going to break sports news, break that sports news at 3:01 p.m. I'm convinced they have said to break that email at 3:01 p.m. because as we got off the air yesterday, we found out that Clemson has named its new offensive and defensive coordinators. On the defensive side of the ball, Wes Goodwin has been promoted from senior defensive analyst to defensive coordinator and linebackers coach, and added the role of co-defensive coordinator to safeties coach Mickey Kahn. Quarterbacks coach Mike Reed added the role of special teams coordinator previously held by Kahn, while recruiting coordinator and defensive tackles coach Todd Bates now has the title of assistant head coach. Is it Dwight Schrute-esque? Is it assistant head coach or assistant to the head coach? Because there's a major difference between assistant manager and assistant to the regional manager. We will find out. Brandon Streeter is going to be the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Clemson named Kyle Richardson, who had served as director of high school relations and special assistant to the offense. He has now been promoted to passing game coordinator and tight ends coach. Goodwin is in his 10th overall season at Clemson, spanning 2 different tenures with the Tigers as a defensive analyst from 2012 to 14 and as senior defensive assistant from 2018 to 2021. Served in critical off-field roles for former defensive coordinator Brent Venables, overseeing defensive breakdowns and opponent scouting, assisting with on-campus recruiting, and also serving as one of the program's primary liaisons to NFL scouting personnel and coaches. Goodwin got to Clemson at 2009, served as a graduate assistant from 2009 to 2011, and joined the staff on a full-time basis in 2012 in Venables' first season at the helm of the defense, and oversaw the team's secondary during the 2012 Chick-fil-A Bowl win against LSU. In the final season of his first stint at Clemson in 2014, Clemson finished as the nation's top-ranked defense in total defense, third down percentage, first downs allowed, and tackles for a loss, ranked top 5 in almost every other defensive statistical category between stints at Clemson. Goodwin spent 3 years with the NFL's Arizona Cardinals, where he served as an assistant to head coach Bruce Arians. Cardinal squads for which Goodwin's work compiled a 28-19-1 record, including a 13-3 NFC West championship season in 2015, in which Arizona reached the NFC championship game. On the flip side of the ball, Brandon Streeter is now the offensive coordinator in his 7th full season as a full-time assistant coach at Clemson after rejoining the program prior to the 2014 Russell Athletic Bowl. Clemson is 89-10 since Brandon Streeter marked his return, including 6 conference titles, 6 college football playoff berths, 4 national championship berths, and a pair of trophies. During his tenure, Streeter has helped produce 2 different Heisman Trophy finalists, 2-time finalists and 2016 runner-up Deshaun Watson, as well as 2020 runner-up Trevor Lawrence. Watson was a 2-time winner of the Davey O'Brien and Manning Awards as the nation's top quarterback. Lawrence ended his career 34-2 as a starter, the third best winning percentage by a starting quarterback with at least 30 career starts since Division I play split in 1978. Streeter has, aside from being the quarterback's coach, also been the team's recruiting coordinator from his arrival in 2014 through the end of the 2019 season. In that time, Clemson produced top 10 classes in 5 out of 6 recruiting cycles. Before he stepped out of that role, Streeter will now be the offensive coordinator. Here's what I've got so far. The initial reaction from the Clemson fans I talked to yesterday after this broke and after we posted it to our Facebook page at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. It seems like Clemson fans are pretty good with the Wes Goodwin pick. I have not seen a lot of excitement about the Brandon Streeter pick as offensive coordinator.
Now, I will say a couple of days ago, I was talking to one of the biggest Clemson fans that I know, been a friend for a really long time, and he's like, what's wrong with my Tigers? Everyone's jumping ship. And the first thing he said is, please don't let them give Brandon Streeter that job. So I can only say, from speaking to one Clemson fan, but someone I've had conversations with for over a decade, and he was unhappy about it. So I don't know why that there's concern about Streeter, but there seems to be out there.
Yeah, the folks I talked to yesterday seem to feel that they weren't necessarily confident in the play calling. I had one guy tell me, and again, I spent a little bit of time analyzing this yesterday. I'm going to do it a little bit more later on. They're worried that Brandon Streeter, being a pass guy, right? He's a pass first guy. He has been the passing game coordinator for some time. I think there's a lot of folks out there who are genuinely concerned to some degree that Clemson may heavy lean into the pass with Brandon Streeter calling the plays and to kind of fall back a little bit. Texter just said, Dabo promoting within a stagnant coaching staff is a huge mistake. Another texter says, Brandon Streeter is also responsible for the play of DJ Uiagalelei this year, which has not been good. So there's some folks out there that are laying the blame for a bit of a stagnant offense this year until late in the year on Brandon Streeter as much as they are Tony Elliott. And frankly, here's the thing. Passing game coordinator, remember, it was the passing game that had problems this year, right? Once Clemson started running the ball late in the season, they ran through Wake Forest. They ran through South Carolina. Once it got to the point where run overtook pass as the primary focus of the offense, the Clemson offense turned around dramatically. Seems to me like there are some Clemson fans out there that are concerned that unless DJ steps it up or unless Cade steps in and is every bit the superstar that they want me to believe that he is, that if they lean back into being a pass-heavy offense next year, could create some problems.
One of the things that Dabo gets praised for is loyalty. One of the things that Dabo gets criticized for is loyalty. So we're gonna find out. I mean, there are people on both sides, especially within the Clemson fan base, about who do they want? I'm sure there's a list out there of people that they would love for him to have brought in. But when the system has worked nearly every year, and yeah, you had a little of a down year, but how many games did they win? They still did pretty good. I don't get why people are so concerned about him promoting from within. These are people who know a system that has worked in the past. Is the system about the coordinators, or was the system put in place that the next person can take over and still run the system the way the guy did who was previously there?
By the way, do you want the system run the same way? Do we want the same system?
Until this year, it worked pretty well.
Absolutely did. Do you maintain? We'll talk more about that later on. Another texter says, Dabo promoting within is huge, but I hope they fall flat on their face. The Gamecocks, though, picked up some huge recruits. They have got some good recruits, and yet South Carolina dropped 3 spots on the recruiting rankings yesterday because South Carolina has lost the best recruit, the highest ranked recruit in Shane Beamer's tenure as a head coach. I'm going to tell you who that is and what that's about coming up a little bit later on in the show. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown, we go back to the Washington football team because the Washington Post put up a big-time story yesterday in which it is claimed by Will Hobson and Liz Clark, a pair of writers for the Washington Post, that Dan Snyder, who said that he would indeed cooperate with the NFL's investigation, may have done the exact opposite. They write in their article that despite the owner's pledge to cooperate with all aspects of the investigation, the attorneys for Dan Snyder attempted to prevent victims and lawyers from speaking with each other, according to a letter that the attorney of the most prominent victim of Daniel Snyder's organization there wrote to Snyder's lawyer. It was filed in federal court. Now, that letter is sealed. That means we will not get to see it, at least not yet. But the Washington Post said they spoke to a person involved in that case and have a general idea of the contents of the letter. According to these people, the woman's lawyer, Brandon Sullivan, accused Snyder's lawyers of offering his client more money beyond the $1.6 million the team paid in 2009 if she agreed not to speak to anyone about her allegations against Snyder and her settlement with the team. In court findings, the lawyer later described phone calls to Sullivan from Snyder's lawyers as an attempt to silence the accuser in 2009. However, all attorneys on both sides have declined to comment. A lawyer from Dan Snyder said that the claim is, quote, untrue. It did not happen. Absolutely no effort was made by me or any Reed Smith lawyers to dissuade anyone from speaking with Beth Wilkinson. Wilkinson, of course, the attorney hired by the NFL to conduct the investigation, from speaking with Beth Wilkinson or otherwise cooperating with her investigation, nor was any money offered to anyone not to cooperate. Anyone suggesting something to the contrary is lying. Dan Snyder, his lawyers, and the team have declined comment as well. The alleged effort to block the interview is one of several claims that lawyers and private investigators working on Snyder's behalf took steps that potential witnesses for Wilkinson's interviews viewed as attempts to interfere with the investigation, according to a review of hundreds of pages of court records and interviews with more than 30 people, including current, former team, and league officials. So, look, we're going to wait to see if there's more weight to this claim, but the fact that the Washington Post came forward, the fact that the Washington Post was willing to bring this up and claim receipts is very, very interesting. We're going to talk more about that story later on in the show as well, but let's get to item number 3 on the lunch breakdown. Ladies and gentlemen, the NBA has a new three-point king as Steph Curry has done it. The Golden State Warriors guard became the all-time leader in three-pointers last night in a 105-96 win over the New York Knicks, passing Hall of Famer Ray Allen after knocking down the 2,974 three-pointer of his career. The record-breaking shot came with 7.5 minutes left in the first quarter as Curry drained a 28-footer from the right wing off a pass from Andrew Wiggins. The Warriors quickly fouled and called a timeout so that Curry could enjoy the moment. He said after the game, quote, "It was a beautiful ending to this last week. The build-up to getting this number, it was a special atmosphere. I knew the Garden would deliver just in terms of how iconic this place is. I can't say it enough. I appreciate so much the way the fans embraced the moment with me and let me kind of get lost in it. I could feel it. Once I took the shot on the wing, it just felt good, looked good. It felt like we were at home. It was a special moment for sure that I appreciate, and I'll remember for the rest of my life in terms of what it means for me to pass Ray. Him and Reggie Miller, guys I've looked up to coming up into the game. It's definitely special," end quote. After that game, both of those guys, Ray Allen and Reggie Miller, met Stephen Curry at half court after his post-game interview. They handed him a customized Warrior jersey with 2974 as the number on the back. Both of them also gifted him autographed game jerseys from their playing career as well. And here's what I'll say about this, Lonzo. You don't have to like Steph Curry. You can think Steph Curry is a bit of a whiner. You can think whatever you want about Steph Curry, but the dude can shoot the lights out of the gym and has continued to do so, and he ain't done yet.
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. In
fairness, from Lonzo, that is a glaring compliment.
No, he is arguably, not arguably, he is now the greatest three-point shooter of all time. No
argument about it.
Yeah, I mean, he has the record, and if he continues to play and he stays healthy, he's going to put that record way out of reach, more than likely.
I got to tell you, it's interesting. We had the conversation about Tom Brady being the GOAT, and your take was the GOAT so far, right? He's the greatest of all time so far, which is fine. The more I watch Steph Curry, the more I watch this kid shoot, the more I watch this kid play, the more I watch Steph Curry continue to develop as a player. Steph Curry right now is 33 years of age, okay? Here's the good news for Steph Curry. Steph Curry's game does not wear on the body the way that, it does wear on the body. Any NBA player has a body weight on, but Steph Curry's game does not require him to be as physical as LeBron James. It does not require him to be as physical as Kevin Durant. He can probably last much longer in the league than some of the other stars of this day. Not only is that cat going to get to 3K before the end of this season, Steph Curry, I genuinely think, could end up threatening, I don't know, Lonzo, 3,600 threes when it's all said and done? Realistically, 700 more of them in his career?
Think about it. If he hadn't been hurt a couple times, he would have already surpassed this a long time ago.
A year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A season and a half ago. He would have absolutely done that. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see how long Steph Curry can go as compared to LeBron, as compared to KD, and how long he wants to go. Obviously, he might decide at some point he's done and he wants to step away. But realistically speaking, this kid's going to threaten 3,600 threes when it's all said and done. And frankly, I don't know if we see it beat, right? Because Steph Curry, we talked about that Bob Ryan get off my lawn argument yesterday about how Steph Curry's ruining basketball. Here's the thing. Basketball, any other sport, is an evolution, right? The game evolves constantly. It's an arms race. Offenses are evolving to get better at X, and then defenses evolve to get better at stopping X. So the offenses start to evolve to get better at Y, and then the defenses evolve to stop them getting better at Y. Right now, the game has evolved to the point where it's played inside out. The game has evolved to the point where it is played from the three-point line in as opposed to the other way around. At some point in the next couple of years, you're going to start seeing some young coaches who start to build defenses designed to stop that style of offense, designed to remove the impact of a Steph Curry, the impact of a Trae Young, and force teams to play a mid-range jumper game. And when that happens, you're not going to have as many Steph Currys that are shooting as many times a game as they are. And on top of all of that, you just got to have natural talent to be able to do it, even if they don't, right? Again, Lonzo and I pointed out, we can go to the gym right now. And if Lonzo and I lifted 23s at the gym this afternoon, I think I'd hit 6. Lonzo said he'd hit 2 or 3 because he hadn't done it in a minute, right? It still requires some level of natural ability to be able to knock down enough threes to catch up with Steph Curry's face. And the defenses in the NBA are going to start catering to stopping that first and make teams go back to being inside teams. I don't know if we'll ever see another guy threaten 3K.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time before defenses catch up. But you would have thought they would have did that by now on him. Like I said yesterday, I'd double team him every time.
Yeah, but like you
sometimes I would triple team him. I just absolutely would. But even when teams do that, he finds a way to make those shots.
How many Steph Currys are there in the league?
Just one.
There's one Steph Curry.
Yeah.
There's one Steph Curry. There's a couple of Trae Young, Luka Doncic guys that are capable of doing that. But
those guys are capable.
Absolutely.
But
oh no, Trae Young is not catching Steph Curry. I'll call that shut now. His game does not cater to catching. And Luka might pass Steph Curry in overall points, but he won't catch him from the 3-point line.
There's some guy in Europe, and that's all he does is shoot threes. He'll show up in the NBA eventually, and he'll start on his journey to try to surpass him. The thing is, I mean, how many more years do you think Curry has?
Yeah, that's what it's interesting. He's 33. LeBron's at what, 36? Closing in on 37. Still going. Not the way it used to be. But again, Steph Curry's game does not break down a body like LeBron does. Steph's not taking contact, right? He's not driving to the rack and getting up amongst the big guys and forcing up. Steph Curry's game is run around until I can lift a 3.
Yeah, and some guys when they get older, they're 3-point specialists, and that's all they do. They're out there to hit 3 points. He's already doing that, so he could do that for a long period of time as long as he doesn't get hurt. I don't know, 37, 38, who knows? You would think that would drop off eventually, but the way he practices, the way he hits things so effortlessly, this thing is going to be way out of reach for a really long time. It may never be surpassed, and if it is, it probably won't be in my lifetime.
All right, 844-477-3776, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Let's take a break. When we come back, massive, game-changing news, and I'm not being sarcastic, that just broke a minute ago in college football recruiting that I am really interested in. Tell you what it is. It is a game changer on ESPN Upstate.
on Twitter.
Going back live.
I sent you a couple of things on Twitter. One, I didn't know if you saw about Dabo, and the other thing you have to look at.
I saw the Dabo one. I didn't see the other.
Yeah, there's a second one.
Hey, fellow, Spider-Man comes out tomorrow, so Rob will see it before the end of the year. Yeah, I will see it before the end of the year. But
I'll see it tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
right, it's sold out tomorrow. It's sold out Friday. If I can get a ticket to Saturday, I might see it, but I leave Sunday morning for like late Saturday night. I might see it.
Yeah, and Saturday night is a little busy.
Yeah. All right, breaking news, and actually, you know what? Give me the glass. I think this is absolutely a glass-worthy moment here.
Let's make this appropriate and very breaking. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. Do I have the skill?
Top-ranked cornerback in the country. ESPN's number 2 overall player in the class of 2022, Travis Hunter, had committed verbally to Florida State University. He was going to go to FSU and help Mike Norvell's rebuilding process. But he has just announced that he has flipped his commitment. FSU has just lost the number 2 recruit in the country, who is instead joining Lonzo, Jackson State, which is an FCS, historically black college university.
Prime time.
Coached by Deion Sanders. And I will tell you that the Florida State fans that I'm still in contact with from my days back in the FLA are absolutely losing their minds right now. And you know what I saw immediately? Because Travis Hunter signed his scholarship offer, signed his commitment, and then immediately signed an NIL deal at Jackson. And they are losing their minds. College football's dead. It's a pro sport now. It's ruining college football. Guys, and I'm going to tell y'all what I just told my Florida State friends from back in Florida. I'm going to tell y'all what I just told them. This is not about an NIL deal. Do you genuinely, honestly think that Travis Hunter has more NIL opportunities at Jackson State than he does at Florida State University? Really? So I want you to think about it for a second. Do you think there is more NIL money coming to Travis Hunter out of Jackson State University, an HBCU FCS team, instead of Tallahassee and Florida State University?
I say, as of however many years ago, or was it just this past year when Deion signed, I would say yes, there's more NIL money there, because Deion attracts commerce, advertisement. That's what he does. I mean, he's taken over the Aflac commercials with Saban. He's always been on TV. So I think they're so, and NIL isn't everything. You know what, and it's kind of sad, but who's going to get more media attention? Jackson State or Florida State? Right now.
Florida State.
No, they're not.
Still going to get more media.
No. And because Deion is winning.
Sorry. Deion's been there 2 years. Has Jackson State? Where's Jackson State? Where is it? What's their mascot?
Why is that relevant?
Because if they were getting more media attention, you'd know about them. Nobody knows anything about, and I'm not pooping on Jackson State here, because I respect what they're doing, and I will tell you in a minute why Travis Hunter's going there, and it's not about money. All right? No, you don't know anything about Jackson State because they get minimal coverage. What you know about them is Deion's their coach, and now they have Travis Hunter. That's it. That's what you know about him. That's it. There's another reason that you are going to start seeing guys like Travis Hunter going to schools like Jackson State, where Deion Sanders is. As I told my FSU buddies that are losing their minds down in Florida, here is the deal. There are a couple of things working. Number one, and yes, this is a big one, Deion Sanders is there. And yes, the school is absolutely going to get more money with Deion Sanders as the head coach. They're going to get more eyeballs. They're going to get more attention. They'll probably be on TV a couple of times more than they otherwise would have. But that is number one. The second thing is there has been a mass rise in the attention overall that HBCUs are getting, historically black colleges and universities. If you watched Game Day this year at all, and this is a good thing to be clear, if you watched Game Day at all this year, there were constant HBCU segments that were done on Game Day. Constant. They did, if I recall correctly, back in like week 8 or 9, they did a college game day from an HBCU this year. They were constantly having coaches and administrators from historically black colleges and universities on. HBCU recruiting rankings are elevating slowly, but they're elevating. Kids that used to go to other FCS schools, like in Appalachian State, like in ECU, kids are starting to go to historically black colleges and universities to play football. Now, I suspect a part of that is these institutions have worked to elevate the African-American community for years, and they have done damn good work in doing it. When I was covering Florida State down in Florida, in Tallahassee is also FAMU, Florida A&M, the Rattlers. They used to be cannon fodder on the schedule of big schools. FBS schools would pay FAMU to come in and pay them $500,000 to beat the hell out of their football team by 45, to beat up their basketball team. Then all of a sudden, FAMU's basketball team, the recruiting rankings started to rise. They made a tournament. They started going into the FBS schools and having good games and beating some of them occasionally. HBCUs have done incredible work within the black community to help elevate kids who would not have had otherwise opportunities to go to college, to educate them and help them produce and become members of this society. And they have started to get attention. And I'm telling you this from someone that I had a conversation with in the past about what these schools are about. And there is some element of pride for some of these kids to play for an HBCU. Then you add in the fact that Deion Sanders is the coach, that he's getting commercial time, which brings eyes to Jackson State, and there's a reaction to that. And for the last part of it, as I have told my FSU friends that are losing their minds in my text message, I don't know if you've heard my phone vibrating over here. That's all FSU people texting me, asking me what the hell's going on right now.
Do they not know that you have
I'm busy.
that you have a show? I mean, it's been on. It's been on for a while.
Right.
By the way, I think sometime this week is our anniversary together. Sometime
Is it really?
this week, I believe so. I haven't
Let's go back and look.
narrowed down the exact date, but
Your
it's sometime.
time flies
Yes.
when you're winning awards, huh?
So stop calling. He's busy.
Yeah. The last thing about all of this, and this is what I've told my my FSU friends so far this morning. The last thing that FSU folks have to remember here, and this is more FSU specific, but the last thing my FSU fans need to remember is Florida State was 5-7 this year. Florida State missed a bowl game this year. So there is more NIL money on the table at FSU than there is Jackson State. That's just the reality of life. However, Lonzo, if I'm the number 2 player in the country and I got a 5-7 FSU squad with no guarantee they're going to be better next year, if I'm going to play for a team that's not going to a bowl game, and over here I've got this school that I really don't have any affiliation with other than they've recruited me, and over here I've got an HBCU that represents me, my family, my community, and Deion Sanders is there, and there's an NIL deal on the table. The day I sign my commitment, why is that a worse decision? The only logical argument you would give me is FSU has better resources to prepare this kid for the NFL because as a recruit, he looks like he's on a path that leads to the league. But here's the thing. We have seen more and more and more players start getting drafted out of SCS schools, out of HBCUs. The opportunity is still there. Yes, it would be easier at FSU, but for all you folks that have said you should work hard for your dreams, hard for your goals, this kid just cut his own work out for him by electing to go to a school with fewer resources, fewer opportunities, but do it for reasons. And I think it's unfair to go, he's selfish and he only did it for the money.
But here's the other thing. I mean, if you are playing in college football, your goal is to get to the NFL. So you are looking at those things. Okay, how do I get there? Deion Sanders calls an owner and says, or a scout and says, hey, I want you to look at one of my guys. It's Deion Sanders calling. So that to me is just as good as being at a big school. It's Deion Sanders calling, and he has those numbers. If not, he's got people who do have those numbers. If Deion's calling, you're answering, and you're going to look at a kid. Because if he says, I got a DB on my team, man, you got to check this guy out, he knows DBs. So he might know what he's talking about, so you're going to check it out. So the connection to the NFL is there because he's Deion Sanders. And from what I can tell, money's everywhere right now.
Here's the text I just got a second ago from another Florida State guy. He said, if this kid didn't want to play for FSU because they're bad, why didn't he go to Georgia or Alabama or any other school, right? He said it's all about the money, right? If he wanted to win championships, why did he go? Guys, even if, for the sake of discussion, for the LOLs, even if he preferred money over a championship, who the hell are you to judge him for that? Who the hell are you to judge him for what school he decided to go to and for what reasons? Maybe the kid went, whatever NIL deal's on the table. I don't know what the NIL deal is. I don't know what it is. I'm hearing rumors now that Barstool Sports was involved in this, that Barstool cut him an NIL deal to not go to FSU. Dave Portnoy, the president of Barstool, is on a tirade against Florida State because he wanted Deion Sanders, who has worked with Barstool before. He wanted Deion Sanders to be the head coach at FSU. And the rumor on Twitter right now is that Portnoy signed this kid to an NIL deal to get him away from FSU to go play for Deion. And he's gloating about it on Twitter.
Grudge money.
Yeah, yes.
I'm down for that.
Portnoy handed this kid $1.2 to go away from FSU and go to Jackson and play for Deion. If he did, yeah, I think it's dirty. But who the hell are you to judge this kid? We'll talk more about it when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
So what I sent you earlier is a trailer that you need to watch later. It's a new Nick Cage movie. Nick Cage is playing.
I watched it yesterday.
Nick Cage is playing Nick Cage.
It's incredible. Keegan sent it to me at like 11:45 last night, and I watched it 5 times. Lonzo, I have never been excited about a Nicolas Cage movie.
The wall part is hilarious.
It's unbelievable.
He just walks around.
It's unbelievable.
Is he taking a risk, though? Like when Arnold did Last Action Hero, which kind of poked fun at everything he had done? Probably not, because Nick Cage he says if he's not working, he tends to do things that get him in trouble. So who had the idea, hey, why don't we just do a movie and you can just be you? Which he's basically him in every movie anyway, but. Have you seen the video? I've just seen it a couple of times, and Feifel just put it out there of a dude almost getting hit by a car, and he's looking at a cell phone, and they say it's Kevin Owens, and it looks like Kevin Owens.
I've not seen that.
See if I can find it again.
He's trending, though.
Oh, he's trending for another reason, but I'm not going to say why because it's in trending, the Twitter trending
I shan't look
topics.
it up.
This is actually Rex Chapman posted it. Hold on, I'm sending it to you right now. It only takes a second. You don't need sound. And he says Kevin Owens getting a call from AEW. Did you look at it though? Did you look at the video?
No,
it's like 5 seconds long. Only wrestling fans would get it. Is that Kevin Owens? Because doesn't that look like Kevin Owens?
Does a little bit, yeah.
I mean, same haircut, same everything,
That's
same belly. And I'm glad dude's still alive because he could very well be dead. That happens way too much.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Brought to you by Capital One Auto Navigator, where you can find a car, get pre-qualified instantly, and see your real monthly payment without impacting your credit score. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com.
Obviously, you see what time it is, I'm sure.
Yeah. Texas says it's the Jacksonville State Gamecocks in Alabama. Deion Sanders is bringing kids to Jackson State Tigers in Mississippi. That's Jacksonville State. He's at Jackson State. Different schools. Texter says, what's the academic requirements between the two schools? I don't know. I'm not reading into this deeper. I'm not in, because I've heard this asked before, right? Like, oh, you didn't go to Notre Dame because you're too dumb. I don't know what they are, and it doesn't matter to me. He had the offer. FSU, clearly he was clearing that hurdle. Texas says, who gives a blank where a kid goes to school and makes a decision for himself? Yeah, I just told my FSU fans. They just said, hey, look, what you are effectively saying is this kid should stay broke so that I am entertained. No, bro. Get that bag. If he picked money over resources, if he picked money over championship, who the hell are you to judge him? Get that paper, young man. Texas says, I hate the NIL money in college sports, but in football, one helmet to the knee can end your NFL dream. So I'm not going to say the 18-year-olds should not maximize what they can make for as long as they can make it. Could all be over in their next game. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what kind of devastating injuries could happen in this kid's next 3 years that prevent him from getting to the league. So if somebody comes and said, I will give you $1.2 million to go to Jackson State just to spurn FSU, and he decides that 1.2 mil is enough to justify that decision. And
Deion's the coach.
And Deion's the coach.
Yeah, I mean, there's that too.
Bingo. And Deion's the coach. Exactly right. Exactly right. Remember what we talk about. This is about what resources schools can provide to kids now, not how kids can be resources for schools. Having Deion Sanders be your coach, whether it's for cool points, whether it's because he knows the league, whether it's because he's got that team on an upward trajectory, whatever his reason, this kid considered Deion Sanders a resource to better his life. And he gets a check. Who are you to say he's bad off for it? Quick break. We come back in a minute. We wrap up hour number 1, finishing up this conversation on The Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Harley-Davidson of Greenville wants you in on that Harley-Davidson lifestyle. And trust me, you want to be on that Harley-Davidson lifestyle. And right now is the best time ever to get in on that Harley-Davidson lifestyle with the 2021 model year-end event happening right now. They have got to clear space on the floor, on the showroom at 30 Chrome Drive right now. And they have to because the 2022 models are just a few months away. So the 2021s have got to go. And that means you are getting the best deal on a new Harley that you will ever get. And it's only at Harley-Davidson of Greenville. And if you're looking for something pre-owned, maybe you got a little bit tighter budget you're working on, like your boy. Maybe you're looking to add to a collection. You already got a big hog, and now you want a little cruiser, a little Sportster. Turn around downtown. They've got the largest pre-owned inventory in the upstate as well. Go online to see it all at upstateharley.com, upstateharley.com, and be a part of the lifestyle centered around one of America's most famous brands. It's Harley-Davidson of Greenville.
Saturday chance for rain high 70 and Sunday sunshine high 57. Meteorologist Jennifer Buchinsky on ESPN Upstate. Currently it's 56.
All right, let's go through the chat, see what I got here. Rob, will you see it before the end of the year? I'm going to try to see it this weekend. I leave Sunday morning, so I've got trivia tonight. I might see it tomorrow night. Nope, sorry, got a friend's Christmas thing tomorrow, so it won't be tomorrow. Maybe Friday night if I can find a ticket and it's not sold out, which last I checked it is. Saturday, maybe during the day. But I got to finish up the Christmas shopping. I got like one more thing to grab. If I have time, I'll do it Saturday. Can't do it Sunday. I'm on the road back to Florida. I got plans Monday. I'm with the family Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So me and the little brother, when I'm in Florida, might go see it. I will see it by the end of the year. I just can't tell you what night it's going to be. Let's see. How many Clemson and USC players are dipping out of the bowl game? We know Zaquandre White is out for South Carolina as he is heading to the league. We know that there's been a couple of transfers out from both schools so far. I have not seen any other opt-out yet, but that does not mean that those opt-outs are not happening. We will find out. Kevin says, who will be the next big name to come to AEW? It looks like we may have just been talking about him a minute ago. Maybe. There's a couple of dirt sheets that are reporting that Kevin Owens has elected not to extend his contract with the WWE. That contract runs up the end of January. The rumor on the dirt sheets are right now that he has not extended his contract, meaning that he would be gone from WWE. And I suspect that AEW would love to get Kevin Osteen into the ring in AEW. Keegan said, have you seen the new Nicolas Cage trailer? We were talking about that minutes ago. It is incredible.
Yeah, it's I didn't see when or where it's coming out on, but I'm there for that.
Who knew that the best way to get people pumped about a Nick Cage movie was to tell Nick Cage, act like Nick Cage, not acting like Nick Cage. And it's glorious. Absolutely glorious.
It's still going to be hard to talk. It's gonna be hard to top.
I don't know, man. That trailer was incredible.
It was pretty good.
Supposed to be me. That thing's hideous. I'll give you $20,000 for it. Like so good. And the wall at the end with him overacting, dropping the guy 3 feet was amazing. See, and this is the difference, right? I watched the trailer for.
Was that the Mandalorian that he dropped?
I think it was.
I believe it might be.
I watched the trailer for the Sean Payton movie, which is an Adam Sandler poop joke movie. And I legit, like, with 15 or 20 seconds left in the trailer, closed it. Because I'm like, no, I have zero interest. It's about my head coach, and I have zero interest in this movie because it looks that dumb.
You know, speaking of sports movies, I probably will go on Christmas Day to go see the Kurt Warner movie. Because that to me looks pretty good.
I'm not super interested in it. Because based on the way the promos run, I think they're making it a lot, and granted, you do this for movies, but a lot more dramatically bad for Kurt Warner than it was, right?
You're right. It's pretty bad when
like
you're
he was still playing professional football. Granted, it was at a low level, but it's not like he was only a bagger in a grocery store. There's a scene.
Will you please? I just. And
I think the circumstances are made to look way worse in the movie than they actually were.
Tell that to Trent Green when his knee got
the scene where he's playing a football game on a patch of dirt. Nope. All right, wrapping up the first hour of the show. Absolutely slammed up hour. I appreciate you guys being a part of it. Kevin just asked, is NIL the new way for boosters to pay for recruits? And there are a lot of people, I think Lonzo included, who feel that way, who genuinely feel that this is just a way to allow college football fans to have more control over recruiting. But I ask you. Like
I said, I give up. Stop with the scholar athlete thing. It's a business now. Okay.
They are scholars.
No, they're not. I mean,
are they not on scholarships?
There might be some that are scholars. Yeah. And hey, I'm studying to be a trainer. Not that that's a bad job.
Even if so, if the best argument
sports
you have
management,
I took sports management classes. They were interesting.
How many players were in there with you?
At UWF, not many, but okay. I was also at UWF. So, we didn't have a lot of league prospects. Actually, we didn't have a football team at the time. I was at West Florida. Here's where I was going with this. If the best argument that you have against this is, I don't like it, that's not an argument. I don't like it is not a good reason for anything to stop. I don't like it.
Unless you don't like sushi. I mean, so just don't.
No, it's still a bad argument. Sushi's delicious. Get out of here. Sushi's incredible.
Come on, what's wrong with you?
It's not all fish. You don't just get a slab of raw fish.
Raw fish. It is raw fish.
It is not.
If it's cooked, then it's not sushi.
The point is, ladies and gentlemen, you not liking a thing, I don't like how it feels. All right, well, that's not a good enough argument to stop a thing. It's just not. If this kid wanted the bag more than he wanted to help Florida State turn it around, sorry, FSU fans, suck it up and move on, man. Hour number 2 is just around the corner on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate.
I thought you were going DX there for a second, where you said suck it up. I was like, whoa. What the world is going on here?
Basketball scheduled tonight. The Camden Camels hosting Georgia Southern. Camels are 7-2 to see who Florida on home. Coastal Carolina hosting Methodist. Gardner Webb. UNC Wilmington home against Howard. With Group A. Carolina getting set for the Cure Bowl in Orlando this Friday. They'll take on Northern Illinois. Coastal head coach James Chapman. I think over the last couple of years, and that's one thing that we didn't get a chance. We didn't. So I know our team's looking forward to that and playing a great opponent over in the way from that change. Here's Carolina Panthers football every Sunday. Carolina kickoff starts 2 hours before kickoff. That's the Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate. Have you heard the Rob Brown Show? Then watch it for free forever.
Watching him run across the field, trying to shove that game-winning baseball into his pocket, not being able to get in his pocket.
So, Christmas in Florida, do they really put Christmas lights on palm trees? I'm asking for a friend.
The palm tree thing, palm trees are not native to Florida. I don't know why Florida gets recognized with palm trees. The only palm trees are like put in as decoration on the beach by restaurants.
So are they like palmetto trees?
Yeah, it's the same type of trees. They're palmetto trees.
Okay.
But they're not native to Florida. They're aesthetic choices.
So Hollywood lied?
Look, y'all, I think Kevin Stefanski died of COVID and is a ghost now.
Whoa. No. He's an interdimensional being. He's just phasing in and out. So when they put the lights on the palm trees, do they have like a really long ladder?
Are you doing an impression of that Chris Farley character from years ago on SNL?
No, but I could. That's usually my interview style for sure. But no. I was just talking like all my stoner friends from high school.
All right, here we go. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Big topic of conversation right now. Travis Hunter, number 2 ranked recruit nationally by ESPN, has flipped his commitment from Florida State University in Tallahassee and will now attend Jackson State University and HBCU in Mississippi, where Deion Sanders is currently the coach. And the story coming out right now is that a part of the reason why he is elected to go there is because Dave Portnoy, the president of Barstool Sports, offered him around a $1.2 million name, image, and likeness deal to attend Jackson State in order to spurn Florida State. Number one or number 2, depending on what composite you look at. Number 1 or number 2 recruit in the country was going to FSU. That would have been a huge get for Mike Norvell, right? Norvell yesterday got a contract extension with Florida State, and I suspect part of the reason why is because FSU recruiting rankings were very high, and Travis Hunter was a huge chunk of that. Right? If you land Travis Hunter, your recruiting ranking goes up probably 4 or 5 spots just on that name alone. Now, they are not alone in losing a big name recruit. South Carolina has dropped 3 spots in the recruiting rankings today, and they have dropped 3 spots because elite linebacker Jayshawn Barham has been committed to South Carolina for a while, but yesterday signed with Maryland. He committed to the Gamecocks on Saturday, thought they were signing the hard commitment today. Instead, he signed with the Terrapins of Maryland. He was, past tense, the top-ranked commit in Coach Shane Beamer's first 2 recruiting classes at SC. The 6'3", 230-pounder ranked the 108th overall prospect and 8th best linebacker in the country, according to 24/7. Now, he was the 108th ranked prospect in the country going to South Carolina. The highest ranked recruit now in South Carolina's class is 219th overall and 19th in his position. Safety Keenan Nelson Jr. out of Pennsylvania, The loss of Barham dropped the Gamecocks 3 spots down to 19th nationally and has now dropped them behind Arkansas and Tennessee for rankings within the Southeastern Conference. Barham is the highest ranked recruit for Maryland now. USC does have 2 linebackers. We told you about Stone Blanton. the other day, and Georgia's Donovan Westmoreland, who is the 439th overall ranked recruit and 43rd ranked linebacker in the game. And like I said, and we'll hit this, and I'm not going to stay on this conversation the rest of the day, but I think it's a big one right this very second. Whatever these kids' reasons are for picking the schools that they pick, whatever drives them to make the decisions that they make as far as where they want to play their college football. I have said before, and I'll say again, I'm sure countless times, it's not up to you. It's not your decision. And what criteria they make to make this, or they use to make this decision, is frankly none of your damn business, right? None of your business. If, and this will not happen, but if 3 months from now, when March rolls around, I have done my best to ingrain myself in this community, right? I'm at local sporting events. I'm helping those teams grow themselves because I think the better the sports community overall, the better the station off is going to be. I come in here every day and try to give you guys 3 entertaining hours. Lonzo and I are bringing Best Sports Talk Radio Show in the state awards back here to put on the mantle. I love this place. This place is my home. But Lonzo, if I got a call in March from another station that said we will offer you $1.2 million to come work for us, and I sign that deal, would you go, oh, it's just not okay. It's just not okay. He picked money over us. No, you go, hell yeah, man, you can buy all the Pop Funkos now. Good job on getting that bag.
Well, actually, I would wonder who I would be stuck with after you left, and I would be like, man, I hate that
Fair
guy.
enough. Lonzo just immediately goes to himself. I respect that.
I mean, come on.
respect
I
that.
only think about me. I mean, come on. No, I'd be happy for you. I would, really.
Yeah.
Now, if you offered to take me with you, I mean, that would be totally different.
Yeah. If I got $1.2 million, I mean, I'm sure there will probably be some higher ups that would be like, well, dude, we kind of thought we hired you for like, a while. But I also suspect if I told them I was going to make $1.2 million, they would also go, can we call you for interviews? Because clearly you're going places, right? So why is it if Rob Brown got 1.2 to leave? Some of you wish I would just do it anyway. Why is it if Rob Brown got 1.2 mil to leave, it's, hell yeah, good job, buddy, we're happy for you. But Travis Hunter gets 1.2 mil to go play college football, and all of a sudden it's just the worst thing that's ever happened in sports. None of y'all complain that Brian Kelly's making $100 million.
Which completely changed how he speaks.
Suddenly.
Yes. That kind of money to do that to you.
I'll also tell you right now, if somebody said, Rob, we want to give you $100 million to talk like you're from Minnesota, Lonzo, I'd take the bag and run, don't you know? I can see Russia from my house now, don't you know? Come on, man. Let's not play. We built this country on successfully getting the bag. That's what we do. We chase paper, man. The whole civilization of this country is built on chasing paper. You don't have to say it's not, but it is. When we say the American dream, what do we say? Making it. What does making it mean? White house, white picket fence, 2.7 kids, 2 dogs, and a happy mate. You got to have money for that, Jack. That's just the reality of life. So now all of a sudden, this kid gets the bag, but which is the American dream, right? Kid worked his ass off to become the number 2 recruit in the country or number 1 recruit in the country, worked his ass off to become the best football player in America. He makes it. And all my selfish Florida State fans are hitting me up with, he didn't pick that school I like, so college football's dead.
So you're only seeing a problem from Florida State fans. Are you seeing it from anybody else complaining about it?
I've seen people all over Twitter who are complaining about it. Our buddy Dan Scott, the voice of the Furman Paladins, tweeted me a couple of seconds ago. He tweeted in a minute ago, and he said, let me see if I can find the exact tweet. I don't want to take Dan out of context. He said, there's only one reason he chose there. Check out his NIL deal with Barstool Sports. Pay for play, baby, but legal. I said, okay. First off, it is unfair to state the reason the kid picked this school without knowing. And none of us know. None of us know. None of us know why he picked Jackson State. It's a big blow for FSU. None of us know why he picked this school.
So if you're him and Barstool comes to him and says, hey, we just don't want you to go there, but we're going to give you this amount of money. Go wherever you want, just not there. And you're the kid, you're going to go, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that money.
Now, again, is this pay for play? I'll let you be the decide. And it might be, it may very well be. Dave Portnoy is a big Deion Sanders guy. Deion used to show up and do stuff for Barstool Sports before he became the coach. Portnoy angled for Deion Sanders to replace Mike Norvell as the head coach at Florida State, right? That was a big Portnoy goal. He wanted Deion at FSU. FSU said, no, we're not listening to you. Norvell's our guy. We brought him in here. We trust him. He's putting it in the right direction. We're rolling with him. Portnoy did this out of spite. If you want to be mad at somebody, if you want to think somebody in this situation is gross, Lonzo, it's Dave Portnoy, right? If somebody in this situation is gross, it's Portnoy. Now, does Dave Portnoy have the right to fork over $1.2 million to whoever the hell he wants to because it's his money? Yes. Yes. Do I have to like it? No.
So what does he do for this money?
I mean, Barstool Sports.
No, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the kid who gets the money. The NIL deal supposedly, right, or so you can, promote or something like that, a product. So does he just promote Barstool?
I guarantee you he'll be doing a podcast for Barstool.
Okay.
I guarantee you he'll be popping up on their videos. I guarantee he'll be flying up to New York City to go on their national shows and whatnot.
Yeah, because I get it when a car dealership or something, right, like or
he'll
like
be a Barstool guy,
like with DJ and Dr. Pepper. Yeah. I get that, but with Barstool, I was just curious.
He'll be wearing a Barstool jacket on game days. Yeah, he'll be promoting Barstool. I got no problem. But again, I want you guys to think about this. Put yourself in this kid's shoes. Dave Portnoy is gross. All right, this is a gross move. It's a dirty move. It's legal. I have no argument against it other than I don't like it, which isn't an argument at all. I'm not being consistent here. But at the same time, Lonzo, if Portnoy called me right now and offered me $1.2 million to work for Barstool Sports, I got to tell you, if I'm being 100% honest with you, I'd have a damn hard time saying no. I would like to think my thought would be, I'm going to take that job and do what I can to change Barstool for the better from the inside. I'm going to go try to be the best person at Barstool to try to change the culture for the better.
Is he in the area or something? You're pushing really hard for this $1.2 million job at Barstool.
That's what this kid's getting from Barstool. I'm not pushing for a job.
It's okay. You've mentioned it a couple times. If he were to call me, which almost makes it sound like, hey, call me.
You know my connection with Barstool, right?
Yes.
I've got a connection with Barstool.
Yes,
a very
I do.
dear friend of mine. I've had him on the show. A very dear friend of mine is a big guy at Barstool. One of their top personalities at Barstool is a dear friend of mine.
Really interested in our interview coming up at 2:20. Unless I'm thinking of a different guy.
No, I'm talking about the guy that hosts the wrestling show for Barstool.
So am I.
Oh, okay.
And
he had MJF on his show a few days back.
Dude, I tied in a couple things there. I'm doing my job.
Yes, you are.
Yeah,
I, on the other hand, am bad at mine.
There was that.
I have a connection to Barstool. I angled for a gig at Barstool a couple of years back. Absolutely angled for a gig there a couple of years back when he got there. Didn't get it. Is what it is. Since I don't like what Portnoy's doing. I'm not a Dave Portnoy guy. I don't like him. I think he's gross. All right? I think he's gross. That being said, if he called me today and offered me $1.2 million to go take a job there, I'd really have to consider whether I wanted to do it or not. Because I do feel there's a part of me that thinks I'd be betraying my ethics. The other part of me goes, with $1.2 million, I could do a lot of good and maybe change that culture from the inside. Who knows? Point is, if it happened to me, Most of y'all would pat me on the back and say, nice job, dude. You draked it. You started from the bottom, now you're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here. Squad here, whatever the words is. The point is, most of y'all will pat me on the back. But the kid didn't pick the school you wanted him to pick, so he's evil? Nah. And there might be a few of you guys that would go, Rob, and by a few, I mean like me. They go, Rob, you work so hard to ingrain yourself into this community. You work so hard to get yourself into the role of kind of being a figure in the sports community here. You watch Lonzo work so hard to win the SCBA Best Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year award. You did all this, and now you're just leaving for money? After what you built here, you're just leaving for money? And yeah, that's a point. But my counter argument to that, Lonzo, is $1.2 million. That's my counter argument, right? So when I get it, it's good. But when Travis Hunter gets it, it's bad. Explain that to me. Well, we're not teaching them life lessons. What you worried about, man? If you think that this is about teaching that kid life lessons, and that's fine, then we should make college free so that every kid can get life lessons, right? Right? Do you agree with that, right, hypothetical person? If you think this kid going to college to play football is about teaching him life lessons, then college should be free so that every kid can learn the life lessons you think are so important that he should turn $1.2 million down to learn them, right? I bet there's some head shaking no and some guys cussing out Rob Brown's crazy idea right now, right? I suspect. See, it always seems to be about life lessons when a kid's doing something you don't want him to do, right? He's taking 1.2 mil to play not in a Power 5 conference. He's not learning life lessons here. Yeah, he is. You know what life lessons he's learning? That if someone offers you $1.2 million to do what you already do, you take it. That's the life lesson. But Rob, he will lose that money and be broke in 5 years. What you worried about? Ain't your money, ain't your life, is it? Is it that important that he learns financial skills? Why don't you offer to teach him? You gonna take time out of your day to teach this kid how to handle money? What you worried about? Brian Kelly got 100 mil. I didn't hear a single person on Twitter go, he's gonna be broke in 4 years. Because that guy, if he loses it all, it's on him. It's like I said last week. The option to make adult decision comes with the reality of adult consequences. Maybe this kid goes to play college football and he goes, I got 1.2 mil, Jack. I ain't working. Kicks his feet up and relaxes. It may cost himself an opportunity in the NFL. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But the point is, it ain't your decision. It ain't your consequences. It ain't your life to deal with. What you worried about? Let's take a break. When we come back, Clemson has their new offensive and defensive coordinators. What does that mean for the Tigers? We'll break that down. South Carolina has lost their highest ranked recruit of Shane Beamer's tenure so far. How bad of a deal is that for the Gamecocks? I got that for you. Steph Curry breaks the all-time NBA three-point field goal record last night at Madison Square Garden. Where does Steph rank in the greatest player of all time conversation? He's not in the top 3, but where does he fall? 4, 5, 6, 10, 20? We'll address that and more coming up. I'm Rob Lonzo. This is ESPN Upstate.
Napa full synthetic motor oil is only $19.99. It's the hottest deal of the year for the coldest time of the year. So if you're in your car right now, there's no need to turn on the heat. I'm about to read this sizzler again. That's Napa.
The J-Boy Show is podcast on Colin Coward's network, and he has an idea with athletes on almost every SEC team. They come on an interview every week and promote a show. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is what it is.
That's what it is.
Resources, baby.
Important news. If you have unfiled tax returns, the IRS is shifting gears and ramping up investigations on non-filers this year. If you fail to file your tax returns for a year or more, or you owe back taxes, now's the time to call Optima Tax Relief before the IRS finds you. Optima is America's #1 most trusted tax resolution firm, specializing in helping individuals, families, and businesses get right with the IRS. They're experts in the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, a powerful new program that can make resolving tax issues easier. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima's award-winning team has helped thousands of people protect their paychecks, bank accounts, homes, and businesses by putting their tax problems to rest, resolving over $1 billion in tax debts for their clients. Call Optima now for a free consultation. Call 800-706-7944. 800-706-7944. 800-706-7944. Optima Tax Relief.
Do you need a new roof or think you do? I'd like to talk to you. My name is Paul Campbell, and I've been fixing and replacing roofs in the upstate for over 15 years. If you have questions about the condition of your roof or possible storm damage, call me.
Mike Golick Jr. just called the movie about Sean Payton a Kids Bop Bounty Gate movie.
That's 864-346-3121. Or find me at rooferpaul.com. That's rooferpaul.com.
You say Kids Bop, which immediately makes me think of Bop, and now it's in my head.
Did a bop now, bop, did bop, I do. Yeah, yeah.
Song everyone made fun of, but everyone knew.
Welcome to Auto. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free fix finder service can read the check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your emails. You have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician verified service. Free fix finder service. Only us. More details at AutoZone.com.
Dispensing real, unfiltered sports talk every weekday noon to 3. This is the Rob.
All right, a couple of last comments before we get off this story about Mr. Hunter picking Jackson State. Lori has emailed the show, Rob Brown at ESPNUpstate.com. This Lori writes in and says, maybe the young man chose Jackson State because of pride to attend an HBCU. Maybe a family member is an alum. Yeah, that's what I said. You have seen the average recruiting rankings of HBCUs coming up in the past couple of years. They are on an incline right now, and they are getting more attention than ever before. FAMU has competed better than they ever had down in Tallahassee. There is a noticeable trend of kids wanting to attend HBCUs. Maybe that meant something to them. The point I'm making here is there's 100 reasons this kid might have picked where he picked, but at the end of the day, it ain't really our business. You know what I mean? It's not really our business. They can pick whatever school they want to pick for whatever reason, and nobody gets mad at them for it. Nobody gets mad at them for it, right? They play where they want to play. It's just that simple. He also gets to deal with the consequences of where he picks to play. That's just how it works. All right. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP. ESPN is the number to be a part of the program. Give us a text on the Ingles Market text line 71307. Texture says, Rob, when looking at four-year schools to transfer to, I knew I was for sale. I was going to whichever school was offering the most amount of money for my academic achievement. Yeah, 100%. Nobody gets mad when the post-grad astrophysicist gets offered more money for grants and scholarships to attend school X than school Y. But I'll be dadgummed if that cornerback is going to do it. You know? Better places to put your frustration than that. And a texter says, Rob, I think the horse is dead. Yeah, that's why we're beating it. We're beating the dead horse. All right. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Let's just keep up the positivity here, Lonzo. Shall we? I know that face.
That's what you're known for. Positivity.
I really am. I am nothing but the bright shining sun on your cloudy day.
You are,
push away the
might
clouds.
as well be an unofficial member of the New Day.
Seriously. I'll ask Big E when he's here in January if I can be an honorary member for a day. Dabo on the transfer portal. Quote, it's chaos right now, tampering galore, adults manipulating young men. Education is like the last thing now. He goes on to call for the return of the 1 year sit for transfers and get that year back upon graduation, and said we need to keep the focus on graduation and education.
They ain't going back. It is not going back. No matter how bad. This is it. It's going to be the way it is now forever. You can't offer go, you know what? We're not doing it anymore. And as far as the transfer portal is, you can't open that door and close it. I guess you could, but they're not going to.
I kind of look at this with the same mentality that I had at the last one, right? The same mentality here. I don't mean to have the same conversation, but I kind of fall in the same spot. It's all about graduation. Cool, man. Well, then let's make college free. Let's make college free so that everybody can graduate from college.
Well, Rob, how would it be free? Someone has to pay for it.
No, I don't disagree, but like, shouldn't we invest in the future? If graduation is that important, if graduation and education is this important to these young men, then shouldn't we make it readily accessible and available to every kid? Would this country not be better off if Dabo's saying, keep the focus on graduation and education? If this country would be better off with kids graduating and getting educated in college, isn't it a worthwhile investment for us to make sure that every kid has an open door? I know kids from high school who were good kids, but they couldn't afford college. They just couldn't afford it. And it's not like every kid that's smart gets a scholarship. If it is that important.
College isn't for everyone either.
I don't disagree, but I'm saying if keeping the focus on graduation and education is more important, then shouldn't we open the door for everybody who wants to? I'm not saying make it mandatory. I'm saying make it where if you want to go to college, you get an opportunity regardless of your position in life.
You know, I'm down with that if it's NIL funded. As long as I ain't paying for it and somebody else is, good.
So the point that I'm making here is you don't get to sit here and scream that the focus needs to be on graduation and education when it comes to football, because it's so transparent that it's not. The problem that guys like Dabo have here is that for the first time in a long time, talent is not being hoarded by the biggest schools. It's being spread around the country. And they don't like it, right? Dabo's not going to have a bench where every position has 3, 4 stars, 3, 4, or 5-star players ready to just roll into that position. Because now these kids got a reason to go to smaller schools because they can get things out of those smaller schools they couldn't get before. What it comes down to is some of these guys are just upset that all of a sudden they can't stockpile depth like they used to do. Because now a school like Jackson State can get a 5-star. It's not like it's going to happen all the time. I don't suspect you're going to see another ESPN Top 100 recruit go to an FCS school. Travis Hunter is the first time that an ESPN 100 player has gone to an FCS school. It's never happened before. And I'll be shocked if there's even another one in this recruiting cycle. I think it'll start to happen occasionally here and there. And yes, it'll be influenced by NIL deals. Ain't a doubt about it. But the same mentality is what I have with the transfer portal. The argument against it from Dabo here is, I don't like it. Tampering galore, adults manipulating young men. Maybe you want to put a rule into place that says college athletes can't discuss NIL deals until after they've signed their scholarship, right? But again, for a country that loves to say adults ought to be free to make their own decision in their own space based on whatever criteria that you want to make them on, this is a spot where we are trying to limit that. And we don't do that anywhere else. If a kid comes to Clemson or South Carolina or FSU or any other school, if a kid comes to this school and realizes that he's not going to get out of it what he had hoped to or what he thought he was, why should we make him finish that spot? Because I don't like it if he leaves. I don't like it if he leaves. It's not good enough for me. That's not good enough for me. And I'm not a big fan of the argument of we need to keep the focus on education. Y'all haven't done that in college football in decades. That might be the weakest argument of all. If college focus and education is that important to you, then make college free. Right? Dan is on the line. Let's get him in here. He wants to talk a little bit about the NIL. Dan, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking a minute. Great to have you, sir.
Thank you, and thanks for the entertainment in the afternoon. I just would like to say that politically, you and I probably would not agree, but I cannot agree with you more on this subject of spreading the talent out across the country. And when you think about the money and you think about the transfer issue, you think on the surface, these are bad things. But then when you think about the results that you're talking about right now, I think it's going to be great and it's going to be wild and it's going to spread the talent out across the country. And we're going to see schools that we rarely see in the playoffs. So I think it's good. I told Lonzo I was thinking the same thing about immigration, how there are rules and laws in place, but those are being sort of set aside or changed. And it's not a good thing for immigration necessarily. I know that this is kind of a weak argument, but I just want to say as I thought about that, I thought about what you were saying and thought this is going to be good for college football, even though on the surface it sounds bad. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that phone call. Like I said, it seems like every year for the last 5-6 years, seems like every year for the past 5 or 6 years, we have somebody that says, how do we increase parity in college football, right? How do we create a situation where it's not the same 6-8 teams every single year?
So apparently you pay for it. That's how you do it.
College football doesn't have to pay a dime. They pay scholarships.
No, when you're saying, how do you're talking about the individual person out there who wants it changed, who's very upset about it. And if that individual person just happens to be a business owner, then they can affect change by paying a kid to go somewhere or not go somewhere, which is what we're seeing.
Okay. It's fine in the NFL, right? Works out just fine. How do you increase parity? You let kids go to the schools that are best suited for them and recognize that one commitment that lasts you 4 years, life changes at a very rapid rate when you are 18, 19, 20 years old. I was a different person at 18 than I was at 16. I was a dramatically different person at 20 than I was at 18. The things that I liked about the school I went to, maybe didn't like as much later on in my career, right? When I went to UWF, I'll give you a perfect example. When I went to UWF, one of the things that I absolutely loved when I first got there was that UWF put a lot of money, a lot of investment into their student union. Just one big mess hall in the middle of the campus that had fast food and entertainment machines and a computer lab. And it's where you hung out. Because at UWF, when we had our schedule said, 1 year I think I had a 9 a.m. class, and then I didn't have another class until like 5 in the afternoon with 5 hours to kill between them. But I lived an hour and a half from the campus. So driving home for lunch and then coming back wasn't an option. So I loved this big student union. And then 3 years in, I took my television broadcasting class with Mark Lambert, who was a baseball player at Penn State before he got into teaching. And I walked into Mark Lambert's class, television production. And the cameras that we were using in this class, Lonzo, the cameras we were using in this class in like 2007 were made in 1998. Now, that's not old. But we were learning how to do 2008 television production on equipment that was a decade old and completely out of date and not used anymore. I would have absolutely loved that 5 of the pinball machines in the student union would have been used to update the technology that they were trying to teach me how to be successful in television, and I'm learning on archaic materials. That'd be like trying to teach a driver's class by teaching people how to ride a horse.
See, being an older person, I've seen transitions in this very building from different boards to newer boards, from DAT machines, from reel to reel to carts to all that kind of stuff.
If there was a school teaching kids how to do radio on reel to reels, you'd pull the accreditation from that university because it's irrelevant. And the point that I'm making here is 3 years into my college career, when I was taking television production with Mark Lambert at UWF, 3 years into that, do you think my priority has shifted away from, hey, freshman Rob thinks it's super legit that there's 20 pinball machines in the student union, to, hey, junior Rob working on his degree would really like to be learning on up-to-date information and equipment so that I don't go into a television news studio not knowing what the hell I'm looking at because I never learned this stuff. My priorities shifted. And if I would have had the opportunity to go to a school that had a broadcasting department that was teaching on contemporary modern equipment and modern methods for operating them, I would have flipped in a heartbeat despite the fact that I liked UWF. Would any of you have faulted me for that? No. You'd have gone, that makes perfect sense. But, oh yeah, we got to keep it on education. What if a kid wants to, hey, Dabo, what if a kid wants to transfer schools because that school's better for his education? You literally just gave up your own argument, right? If it is number one about education, then if a kid wants to transfer to go to a school that's better for his topic of study, you would bend over backwards to help him, wouldn't you, Dabo? Because that would make the education the priority. I suspect that's not the case. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
So it took all I could do to not interrupt because I have interrupt.
Oh,
interrupt. I have a couple questions and an observation. When you say Lambert's name, either you didn't like the teacher or you equate him with Dan Lambert, and there's some anger behind it. Every time you say his name, there's kind of Lambert. There's a Okay. All right. I don't know.
Did I say entertainment machines?
You said in the student union they had entertainment machines. I didn't know what.
Like pinball machines and video games.
Oh, okay. All right. It's not inaccurate how you described it. I just never heard it that I recall said that way before. So. You darn kids and your entertainment machines. We had tic-tac-toe in my day, and we loved it. So they're arguing on the stream about which boy I am.
Oh, where you're from?
Yeah, and I'm.
I like that Steven called dibs on you for the entire city of Spartanburg.
Hi, my name is Lonzo. I am the upstate.
500 years from now, kids will grow up in an area of this country called Lonzoville. That sits directly between Spartanburg and Greenville.
I'd rather it be the town of Lonzo. I don't want some. So the last thing is said is Lonzo. No, the town of Lonzo.
You want the whole town name to be the town of
the
Lonzo.
town of Lonzo.
That's the official name of it.
Yes. So Lonzo is the last part of it.
And
so it's never adding anything on the end.
It is all video and board game stores, and the first code that goes in is no sushi restaurants allowed.
Absolutely no sushi. The closest to sushi I'll get is shrimp.
Shrimp is delicious. Shrimp might be my favorite food because you can do anything with it. Make it garlicky. You can fry it. You can barbecue it. I mean, I'm like Bubba Gump in real life.
You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email, so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician verified fixes. The free fix finder service, only at Autos. More details at AutoZone.com.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
On a Spanish.
It's pretty bad.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real life.
In reference to the refs in the Bucks-Bills game, Bills Mafia is donating tens of thousands of dollars to an organization helping visually impaired people.
There you go. Got to do.
I love it.
Real credit card questions require real people. Someone who understands your issues and works to resolve them with you. That's why Discover offers helpful U.S.-based representatives available 24/7. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
At some point tonight, I plan on playing the entertainment machine. We didn't have pinball machines. I would have loved that.
We had 7 or 8 of them in the studio.
One of the fraternities had an arcade cabinet for Joust. It was the nerd fraternity. And no, I never stepped foot in.
I was in the nerd fraternity as well.
I was not in the nerd fraternity. I was in the football fraternity. I was in the non-steroid football fraternity. There was the clean fraternity and the steroid fraternity.
Our frat house had a pool table. It had every console in the our fraternity house was not a house, it was an apartment, but we had a chapter house out front that was just a big kind of gathering spot. Every console, pool table, ping pong table, a couple of cabinet video games. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob. He is Lonzo. It is great to have you along for the ride. 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingalls Market text line at 71307, 71307. Want to remind you, coming up here in, what do we got, about 30 minutes? About half an hour from right now, we are going to replay an interview that Lonzo I did earlier this morning with Mark Henry, AEW superstar and WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry will join us on the show coming up in half an hour from right now. Talk to him a little bit about AEW Winter is Coming, which airs tonight. They are in Greensboro, North Carolina, coming up on the 22nd of December, and then in Charlotte, North Carolina on January 8th. I just realized, Lonzo, we could hit Monday Night Raw and AEW Dynamite within 8 days of each other. Or no, within a week of each other.
We could do that.
I don't hate this plan. Don't hate this plan at all. Mark Henry will be on the show with us in half an hour from right now. 844-GSP ESPN Texas, Ingles Market text line 71307. You ever heard the term event horizon? You know what an event horizon is? Besides a movie with Jodie Foster's in it, I think.
Was she in that one?
Well, I thought it was her. I could be totally wrong.
I thought it was like Sam Neill or somebody like that.
Maybe I'm wrong. That movie's 30 years
yeah,
old.
it's pretty old. So, but
Lawrence Fishburne, Sam Neill, Kathleen Quinlan, and Jolie Richardson. Well done.
Thank you.
So the event horizon is, you know what a black hole is in space. A black hole is a singularity in an infinitely small spot of infinite density, right? Anything that passes past the event horizon of a black hole, once you're inside the event horizon, there is nothing that can escape. Light cannot escape. When you see an image of a black hole, you see that big black spot. That's not actually the black hole. The black hole is actually an infinitely small spot inside of it, but the event horizon is so strong that not even light can escape, which means that there's nothing that can actually bring you information about what's in the black hole. Now, so an event horizon is a spot that you can't pass. Once you pass it, there is no escaping it. Why do you look so miserable? I'm trying to make you smarter here, Alonso. I'm trying to help you out here.
I was throwing the visual out there that my hair hurts.
Oh, gotcha.
That's what that was. We need a hottie intellectual alert button.
That's what I'm here for. It's just the sound of 1,000 nerds pushing their glasses up. Urban Meyer's tenure in Jacksonville has hit the event horizon at this point. All right. There is no return. There is no coming back. There's no making this work. It's done. It's over, right? It's over. Name me another rookie head coach who's had this much drama in their first year. Ever. Just any rookie head coach who has ever had this much drama around their rookie season. I looked it up yesterday or the day before yesterday because I was curious.
Say some Raiders coach back in the day, probably.
I mean, maybe.
Back in the Matuzak days and during that time.
I would suspect that the majority of you guys can't come up with a coach that has had this much drama during their rookie season. I'd suspect you can't, right? The reason I asked, I heard an argument the other day that, well, hey, Rob, Jacksonville won a game last year and they've won 2 games this year. That is a 100% improvement. And if he comes out next year and he doubles it again, they're 4-13. Couldn't you really be mad at a coach? Can you really be mad at a coach that is improving his team by 100% every year? And the answer is yes. Yes, I can. I looked it up. The last 84 rookie head coaches in the NFL. 84 rookie head coaches in the NFL. You know what the average win total is for a rookie head coach amongst the last 84 rookie head coaches? It's 7.4. And that was with a 16-game schedule. One less opportunity for a win. The average win rate for a rookie head coach in the National Football League, and rookies don't take over great teams historically, right? The average win total is 7 wins a season for a rookie head coach. 7. At that pace, it will take Urban Meyer.
I am completely shocked that it's that high. I really am.
You find the exact number because I texted it to Diesel the other day because we were talking about it. Let me find it. I've got it right here saved somewhere. Hang on just a second. Here it is. If you look at just the rookie head coaches since 2008.
They're very okay.
Very first year. Rookie head coach, 60 out of the 84 new head coach hires. They account for 17 of the 24 new coaches that have made the playoffs in their first year. Historically, that means that new rookie head coaches are 41.7% more likely to make the playoffs than new head coaches who had previous experience. These numbers and what Herb is producing are killing Trevor Lawrence, y'all. Killing Trevor Lawrence. He's got to go like yesterday. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
I went and turned the thing, so hopefully it'll cool down.
Oh, yeah.
meteorologist Jennifer Buchitsky on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 59.
Radio.com is now Odyssey. Download the Odyssey app and listen to ESPN Upstate and all the sports, news, music, and podcasts. We'll make sure you and your people do everything possible to see that it gets through. All in one place. It's the Odyssey app for ESPN Upstate. Odyssey is your new home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today and all the sports you love. Listen to ESPN Upstate.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. Hey, it's Charlie James. It's time to call QC Kinetics. Non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgeries, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients are raving about it. For hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief, don't let them keep giving you steroids, and don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics. Do it now and imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772.
Spectrum Mobile is reinventing wireless again. Get unlimited on 2+ lines for $29.99 a month per line. No contracts, no added taxes or fees. Includes nationwide 5G. Save up to 60% with Spectrum Mobile. Get unlimited on 2+ lines for $29.99 a month. Call 855-438-2999 or visit the store near you. Offer valid for new customers on 2+ unlimited plans. Internet required. Savings based on 2-line comparison of unlimited plans from major national carriers as of 9/2021. Prepaid excluded. Restrictions apply.
Hey, it's ESPN Upstate's Mark Ryan. Join me at Ingles Markets Vision every Thursday from 3 to 7 with a special live edition of Offside with Mark Ryan. This Thursday, we'll be at 1851 Highway 14 East in Landrum. Brought to you by Ingles Markets on ESPN Upstate.
Tis the season for the Upstate Holiday Light Show. Where's that at Greenbelt Picking Speedway? Millions of incredible lights, a kids' light zone, 600-foot light tunnel, even a drive-through petting zoo. Do we need tickets? Sure, but fast passes are available. Just sign up online.
Let me cipher again, but I think we may be done for the hour.
Okay.
The Upstate Holiday Light Show is going on now at Greenville Pickin' Speedway. Twice the animals and the carnival rides are back. UpstateLights.com.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Granger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry.
Yeah, we're done for the hour.
Okay. So we're just rolling straight into the break.
Yeah, I was curious about something though, because I of course, we all understand your disdain for Urban Meyer, but I wanted to look historically what the record is, year after year for Jacksonville, because I'm curious about the average win for any coach for Jacksonville. And it would appear that he's on pace to be average as far as the winning total for a Jacksonville coach.
I'm fine with that. None of those coaches had anywhere close to the level of drama that he's had this year. This is one of the most drama-filled head coaching seasons of any coach. And when you've got a quarterback that was supposed to be, or at least had an opportunity to be the savior of the franchise, you can't afford that.
Let's see. Well, it looks like the best coach they ever had was Tom Coughlin.
Yep, he absolutely was.
Who was the first coach. And then they went downhill after that.
Also had Mojo Drew when he was there too.
There are a couple years since Coughlin where they did okay. 2005, they went 12-4 with Del Rio. 2007, 11-5.
They've made an AFC championship before.
2017, they went 10-6 with Maroney. But you look at Bradley, 4 wins, 3 wins, 5 wins, 3 wins, fired. How long has Khan owned Jacksonville? Has he owned them from the beginning?
Yes.
So if he's owned them from the beginning, he's very patient with his coaches. Which,
100%.
If there were no drama at all outside and not having to deal with people whining on the team, supposedly. There's no way you consider him being fired if you look at the history
There is whining on
of
the team.
coaches.
That's what we talked about.
We're not coming
Oh,
back.
that's right.
Why? Because Rob doesn't understand brake signal. I didn't want to interrupt your passionate plea with music to remind you.
Feel free to do so.
It's my fault.
No, it's my fault. I was looking at the clock and
Hey,
I'm like,
man.
"Get out." But I'm
Hey.
gonna finish this point. But
Hey,
get out.
I think I've proven to
It's
you.
always your fault.
Yes.
No, feel free to play music over me.
Even when it's not my fault, it's still my fault. Ow!
Knee?
Yes. Let's see if I can walk. Hey.
Hey, you didn't fall down, ladies and gentlemen.
Still walk.
I can fly.
Oh, man.
Bummer.
Yeah, but someone turned the cane. Should I turn it back? Leave it where it is. You just can't go change the basketball court.
Did you guys drop that rim down about 1.5 feet, please?
Yeah. Hey, we got a big interview coming up where I can listen and go, man, I sound stupid. I hate my voice. What a dumb question. I can't believe. But what a good guy to answer my dumb question.
Lonzo, I am the self-deprecating one on this show. Please stop stepping on my shtick.
I apologize. Please don't sue me.
That's my whole gimmick is that I call myself an idiot. It's not really a gimmick, though. It's actually a thing I do.
Yeah, I've been deprecating since I was 5. So there.
I think you used the wrong word.
I said deprecating. Yes, I did.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio.
Yeah, there's supposed to be an intro there. There was, and we were having a discussion, and I didn't realize my mistake. If you like, I could leave the room right now.
I don't actually, because then I have to do your job too. And
which you absolutely could do because you're scaled that way.
I could.
Yeah.
Do not want to. Rob Lonzo, here's a fun tweet. You guys remember way back in the day, last Thursday, when Gene Chizik said something dumb and I had to yell at him? Well, Gene Chizik has decided to smash the accelerator button and tweeted this out last night. He said, and I quote, "Every scholarship offensive lineman at Tennessee will get $50,000 a year with a new NIL deal, not to mention the $200,000 education. Americans struggle finding $50,000 jobs to feed their children. Next, it's $100,000 per player with no end in sight. Flawed system, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Most $sign wins, exclamation point. Hashtag words of Chisholm." Let's play a little game here, Lonzo. Just a question. Do you think for a second that when Gene Chizik was fired from Auburn University, which came with a severance package, ladies and gentlemen, of $7.5 million. Do you think Gino turned that money down because he was concerned about the starving children of America? Or do you think every month Gene woke up, put on his fuzziest, most comfortablest robe, put on his fuzzy slippers, and skipped happily on down to the mailbox to pick up that month's check of $250,000 that he got paid to not coach college football? Or do you think, Lonzo, that Gene Chizik put on his comfiest robe and comfiest slippers and skipped on down to the mailbox, picked up his check for $250,000 a month for not coaching football, and then went ahead, sorry, words are hard because I'm frustrated here, proceeded to head on down to the local soup cabinet and donate that $250,000 to these starving families in America that he says are more important than college athletes getting paid? Do you think either one of those happened? Or did Chino walk into the bank and go, back again, cha-ching?
Well, there's a couple things. First of all, does fuzzy denote comfort? I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. And
are you a robe guy?
Sometimes.
Fuzzy robes, best robes. I'm a robe guy.
I'm into the terry cloth robe. The other thing is, checks like that don't come. They're directly deposited. The other thing is, I don't know what he does with his charity. He could very well have done that. He probably didn't. We would have heard about that. But we need to get Gene Chizik on the air. We do. I want to hear this. I want to hear this.
I got no interest.
Okay.
I got no interest.
All right.
I mean, if you want to line it up and bring him on, I'm not going to back off of him. I don't come at guys often. I'm not a confrontational dude. I don't know that I've ever had an intentionally confrontational.
Yeah, this is weird for me because I'm not used to you doing it. Other than Urban Meyer, this is Gene Chizik is like, no, I'm trying to figure out which one you like the least. I'm going with Urban here, but yeah,
I had no problem with Chizik until last week. You know what the problem I have here? It's not even the bad take. All right, that's a weak, lazy, half-assed bad take. I got no problem with the bad take. You know what I do have a problem with? The sanctimonious tone he takes in the face of his own hypocrisy and the stupid hashtag at the end of it. Words of Chisdom. Are you kidding
me?
Come
on, I kind of like the hashtag. I kind of.
It's no. It's the sanctimonious tone of voice in the face of his own hypocrisy.
Okay, what's your name?
Texas says Gene Chizik got his Auburn championship by riding Cam Newton. He's right. The most money wins, and the only way he was able to win, he should feel free to give that championship back and claim it was tainted. Does anybody think for a second that Cam Newton didn't get paid to go to Auburn? Anybody? Or Cam's dad? No, we all know what happened.
Well, yeah, he got a scholarship. That's getting paid.
Man, I heard the legend of the bag man. I can't tell you how many times when I was broadcasting in the South when this happened, in the deep South when this happened.
Is that like the Mothman or Chupacabras?
Yeah,
or
it's a mysterious creature that shows up and hands big bags of money to college football players who are transferring.
You dress like a Sasquatch?
The bag man. No, you dress in an oversized trench coat and a big brim hat and giant sunglasses.
Does he have really large hands? So,
yeah, he's got to hold all the bags.
Yeah, okay.
The bag man. It's the sanctimonious hypocrisy, right? That's the worst. Get over yourself. I'm a motivational speaker. Motivate you to stop saying dumb things on Twitter, Chiz. I am guessing you didn't turn away the $7.5 million you got to not coach the Auburn Tigers. Did you? If you did, I'll shut the hell up and leave you alone. But I got $1 to a donut that says more of that money's in your bank account than got put into the mouth of other starving Americans who have had trouble finding a $50,000 a year job to pay their families, to feed their families.
Is that your compassionate voice?
It is.
Okay.
Because I'm so sad. Chiz. It's not words of Chisdom. It's Chizpocracy. John is on the line to talk NIL as well. Welcome to the show, John. Thanks for taking a minute. Great to have you on the air, bud.
Appreciate you having me, Rob.
Sure thing.
I'm confused because, $50,000 is a lot to some people, but the problem is that, like, listen, these guys probably have spent since 5 years old playing football at a level that they are expected to play as hard as they can every down, every game. So these kids put their lives on the line at an early age. Why shouldn't they be getting paid at least something, a livable wage? Because everybody hears that problem of a college kid where he doesn't eat for 2 weeks, because he can't afford ramen. So, listen, I get it. I understand, that, there are college kids out there that don't get that payment, but these kids put their lives on the line. Realistically, their careers on the line, I guess, more specifically, to play football. That's what they've been trained to do their whole lives, and at this point now, it's a job.
I agree with it, and that is one of the reasons that I thought the NIL was a fair compromise to the folks out there. And honestly, I think the NIL could go further. I got no problem with the concept of some sort of stipend or income to college athletes, not football players, athletes as a whole. But that's hard money to come by. So the NIL, I thought, was at least a step in the direction of a compromise, in that these guys are not getting paid to play football. They are getting paid to represent whatever brand wants them to represent them. And it just happens to be that they have a big name for themselves because they are playing football. Is there a chance it's going to be taken advantage of in a pay-for-play way? That's what appears to have happened with Travis Hunter, the young man who's number 2 in the country and just flipped on FSU to go to Jackson State. But at the end of the day, the point that I'm making here, John, is that these kids have the right to make that decision if they want to. And if a business wants to pay somebody to represent their brand, that decision and the consequences that come with it belong to them without a doubt. I'm sure Barstool Sports lost a lot of FSU fans from their subscribing, paying ranks today, but they believe that giving $1.2 million to this kid to play for Jackson State is more beneficial than the number of Florida State fans who are going to stop being Barstool Sports fans today because of their decision. It is what it is.
That's very true. That's true. But would it also be considered that kid also wants to go play? He's a quarterback, so doesn't he want to play for probably one of the best DBs to ever do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, and we had this conversation, I think late last week, John. I said, at the end of the day, the most successful programs now are going to be the ones who recognize that it is not anymore about what kids can offer to schools, but what schools can offer to kids. Having Deion Sanders, one of the greatest defensive backs in football history, period, point blank end, and a guy who knows what it takes to navigate both the league and the world of publicity, right? Very few players ever got more pub than Deion. To have him as a resource to guide you as a football player at your position, as a guy with sights set on the league down the line, and as a guy who wants to use his brand to make money, there is not a better guy to represent him than Deion Sanders. And that is a resource that is offered to this kid that Florida State could not provide. There you go. There's a good reason to make the decision. And then also $1.2 million doesn't hurt my feelings at all.
That's very true. And I think that's the biggest problem we face now as a sports community is it is polarizing because you have to worry about what's that kid going to do with that money. What about the kids that aren't a household name at 19 years old? But at the same time, these kids are household names for a reason. It's because they're really, really good.
John, appreciate the phone call, buddy. Great to have you on the air. Hey, look, man, like I said, it is what it is now. And I guess the part about this that's aggravating some people is that I don't like it, but it is what it is now. It's in play. And as Lonzo said, that genie ain't going back in that bottle. When we come back, all elite wrestling superstar Mark Henry the world's strongest athlete. Lonzo and I got a chance to interview him earlier today. We'll play that for you on the flip side of the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
Lights.
The Upstate Holiday Light Show is the Upstate's favorite holiday tradition, and you can become a part of that tradition this year. The Upstate Holiday Light Show is happening right now at the Greenville Pickens Speedway. 32 million lights. Dance around to the music of your favorite holiday classics. It is a Christmas wonderland with the sky set ablaze and your ears filled with your favorite Christmas tunes. You can take your time, park and enjoy the 30-minute show, drive around the track as many times as you would like. And when you're done, enjoy the small carnival rides. You can feed farm and exotic animals inside of the petting zoo, or you can see the petting zoo from your car using the drive-through lane. Open, rain, or shine 7 days a week. Put some cocoa in the thermos. Grab the kids and some blankets, put them in the car, and head out to the Upstate's favorite holiday tradition. It's the 2021 Upstate Holiday Light Show. Keegan, you're a monster. I love it.
Coastal Carolina getting set for the Cure Bowl in Orlando this Friday. They'll take on Northern Illinois. Coastal head coach James Chandler.
We want to go get our first bowl win. We've accomplished a lot of things over the last couple of years, and that's one thing that we didn't get a chance to finish last year. So I know our team's looking forward to that and playing a great opponent, Northern Illinois, a MAC champion.
Done a fantastic job, so it should be a great game.
101.1 airs Carolina Panthers football every Sunday. Carolina kickoff starts 2 hours before kickoff. Panthers on ESPN Upstate.
Men's basketball every time, every game on ESPN Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, on your computer, smart speaker, and phone on the Odyssey app.
Good things in small packages.
So in order for this to stay on the stream, we'll have to leave our stuff open. So we can't really have conversation while it's going on. We could, but we'd be talking over ourselves. Plus, I don't want to talk over. I don't hear it again. Anyway.
When this happens, you need an HVAC company you can trust. A company like HVAC specialist. And if you need a new unit, Priority Heating and Air is a proud distributor of a total line of HVAC systems. Handle your business warm this winter and get Priority at 591-1847 or online at PriorityHeatingandAirHVAC.com.
Keegan, you won't be able to roast Rob's interviewing skills. He's amazing. Mine, get ready. Because, I know you said I'm not allowed to self-deprecate, but, you can't stop me. I'm worse than you, man. I'm not. Stop. He's not going to look at his phone. That's funny.
I saw your text, but I'm also trying to get the website posted so people can listen to the review. Yes, I am working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week, Keegan, and I very much appreciate the offer. If it takes you like a minute, you got nothing better to do, have at it, but it's not the end of the world. Actually, you know what? Don't worry about it. We won't be on the stream next week, actually, because I'll be in Florida and the setup is just too complicated. So we won't be streaming next week.
Speaking of streaming, while I'm thinking about it, Saturday, one of us needs to use a laptop. So either mine or yours.
Okay.
So it's your choice.
Okay.
If you'd rather, just for a camera, not for,
Yep.
Because we don't have 4 cameras in there. We only have 3. So I will bring mine in case you forget to bring yours. And We'll figure out which one we use.
Ranger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts.
On the phone with us now, a superstar for All Elite Wrestling, a guy that if you are a wrestling fan like Zoe and I, you have been watching on TV for the better part of a couple of decades now and still making things happen in professional wrestling. He is the world's strongest athlete. Mr. Mark Henry joins us here on the show. Mark, my man, it is great to talk to you. Have been watching you since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, and now we get you on the radio. I appreciate your time, big fella.
Man, I appreciate y'all having me on, man. I love the energy. I love to hear it.
I take that as a genuine compliment. If Mark Henry's good with it, who the hell's going to tell me it's not good? You know what I mean?
Right. And then, you know what? You just got to keep it moving and hope for the best. Make sure I don't say nothing that's going to embarrass the whole family.
Well, as far as I know, you've kept out of trouble this long. I'm not worried that you're going to break the bank on a little radio station in South Carolina. Let's jump right into it. Mark Henry joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. And Mark, I think the first question that I've got to ask, and it's the one that I'm sure you get all the time, AEW has really broken out since its inception. I was in Jacksonville when it really started to pick up steam. I have watched this company grow over the past couple of years. You are starting to see the biggest names in the sport start to gravitate to AEW. You are starting to see arenas filled up now that AEW is back on tour, like they will be in Greensboro, North Carolina, in just a couple of days. Talk to me a little bit about, now that you are part of the AEW presentation, now that you are part of that machine, talk to me a little bit about what you think AEW is doing right to grow the fan base it's grown and how it's different from other companies you have worked for in the past.
You know what? I think that AEW is a fast-moving company and is growing to be the number one company in the world because the talent are very hyper-competitive. And if they want to be number one, they realize what they have to do. Everybody else can say that it's not a competition, but when you're trying to be number one, then there's competition. If they're not trying to be number one, or any of the other companies are not trying to be number one, then they're missing the boat. You know, we're all about competition. And I feel like that when you have that mindset, every week you're trying to prove that. And we've been number one on cable for several weeks this year. I mean, probably about 8 or 9 times. And that's really, really hyper impressive for a company that's only been around for 2 years.
Hey, Marcus, this is Lonzo, by the way. Really cool to talk to you. Every day on the air, Rob and I, we talk wrestling, and we get texts from people who are like, oh, man, they're talking wrestling again. Why do you waste our time for an entire segment or two talking about wrestling? If you could get one of these haters in front of you and tell them this is the guy that you need to watch, this is the wrestler that you need to watch in the business today that will make them wrestling fans, who would it be?
You know what? I really do think that the guy for your entertainment dollar that's going to just really make you go, oh, my God, this dude is too much, is MJF. I mean, he's too much. I mean, he's one of those guys that you don't want to turn the channel because you want to see what's going to happen next. And then he'll say something and make you want to turn the channel. But you don't, because you just have to see where it's going to go.
Talking with Mark Henry, the world's strongest athlete, professional wrestler for All Elite Wrestling. Mark, one of the things that I have loved about AEW and something that I think that other companies have failed to do is to strike a solid balance between letting the veterans have their time to shine, letting the veterans have their moment, like Sting, like CM Punk, like you, but also utilizing the resources, the knowledge, the wisdom that the vets have in order to start developing the next generation of superstars, guys like Darby Allin, guys like Sammy Guevara. AEW seems to have, at least from an outsider perspective, really made that a priority for this company. A, is that correct? And B, what does it mean to you, to Sting, to Punk, to these older vets, to be able to kind of use your talents to build up what the future of this company is going to be in those young guys?
We definitely have. We're putting our emphasis on the future. Nobody has been a letdown yet. People like Dante Martin are turning the corner as being main event caliber talent. The list goes on of guys. I think we have about 30 or 40 people in the company, male and female, that can lead this company into the future. And with no exception, the company, the corporation, and the leadership at the top are just as important as the talent. And Tony Khan is one of those people that should have been in wrestling a long time ago.
You know, Mark, Rob just mentioned Sting, and we know Winter is Coming is tonight, and I know that you probably won't be able to give us a hint, but Tony Khan has said there's some big surprises tonight. Can you drop any hints at all of who might show up tonight?
Well, I don't like to know. Like when we're in any meeting, I'm like, hey, if anything's gonna happen different, this is the time to tell me so I can tune out. And I want to enjoy it just like everybody else. And for anybody that people like spoilers, what's wrong with you? Why do you like spoilers?
My guy, my absolute guy.
I didn't expect it, and I don't like spoilers, but I had to give it a shot. You know,
we have a rule on the show, Mark Henry, that you have to wait 2 weeks after a movie comes out, after a television show drops. There is a 2-week dead period on the show where people are not allowed to discuss it to avoid spoilers. I am so glad to hear that the world's strongest athlete is in my corner on that particular argument.
Listen, man, it takes a lot of work to become the world's strongest man. The last thing I'm going to do is spoil the surprise for somebody when people they live and breathe and spend their hard-earned money on this industry. And I love the business, man. Like, I love the business. The last thing I want to do is ruin it for the people like me.
And that's kind of the direction I wanted to go next. We're talking with Mark Henry of All Elite Wrestling. They are in Greensboro, North Carolina, coming up on December 22nd. January 8th, they will be at the Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte as well. Talk to me about that love for the business, right? You've been in this for 20 plus years at this point. You segued from a powerlifting career into becoming one of the dominant forces in professional wrestling for a couple of decades now. You know, there's a lot of people that will do any job for 20-ish years, Mark, and will tell you, I've kind of lost that passion. I've done it so much. It's so repetitive, et cetera, et cetera. You, on the other hand, when I'm watching you do, especially these interviews leading up to the main events on Dynamite and Rampage, et cetera, there seems to be a genuine joy on your face for getting to stand between Adam Cole and the whoever he's got in the main event, et cetera. Is that love for this business still there, and is that what brought you to AEW?
It is, and also the fact that I wanted to have an imprint on the industry that was not me in the ring. You know, I wanted that to work on the executive chops. And, you know, I really enjoyed it, man. Like helping the communities that we go into with our community team, as well as every wrestler in the company can say, hey, man, there's this little charity that, I like to support, and we support. We try to help out. Every community, we don't just come to a community and take, we try to leave something behind. So, like, it's a new concept, but it's one that should have been happening years and years ago. Those are the things that I'm kind of hanging my hat on, and I'm loving the fact that Tony allows us to do that.
Well, I hope that you're not going to hang them up as far as not being in front of the camera anymore, because, Taz has his own stable of wrestlers. Jericho has his own stable. When are we going to get the Mark Henry stable? When are you going to be a manager?
Man, don't hold your breath.
I want you to know, Mark Henry, I want that to happen. And I would like to go ahead. I'd like to go ahead and put forward as the name, the World's Strongest Fam. And when I see that pop up on TV, you're welcome in advance, Mark Henry.
Well, hey, I'm going to say thank you. But, man, if anybody hits me, I'm calling the police. I'm not trying to get hit anymore, man. I've served my time.
Speaking of, I wanted to ask you about a couple of career highlights for you and what you expect out of your career moving forward. As a wrestling fan, I will tell you to this very day, one of my top 5 moments of all time was your retirement speech swerve in WWE a number of years ago with that nice salmon-colored jacket and then just absolutely blowing the roof off the joint. Can you tell me about that moment is still talked about by wrestling fans of all companies of ages around mine. Did you expect that to get the reaction that it did, that we're still having it talked about today? And if you had to give me your top 2 or 3 all-time career achievements that you look back and go, that was a memory I'll never forget, was that one among them?
I did expect it because, that was like almost a year in the making. I started that a year before saying that I was done, because the intent was actually to be done. Like I really was saying, you know what, I've done everything there is to do. I've been champion. It's time to hang it up. I want to spend more time with my kids, and that was my intention. But when it was brought to me that the whole world was saying, wow, man, I can't believe that Mark Henry is leaving, then I said, maybe this is where I got him on the string. Let's go. Let's do it. And we did that. And everything that I said was real. That was my real retirement. It's just that I put a little zinger on the end of it just to entertain the people one more time. And as far as my list of accomplishments in wrestling, being world champion comes before the retirement speech. All the times that I tried to help elevate the industry comes before the retirement speech. The fact that I was able to transition from being Olympic hero to sexual chocolate to becoming the world's strongest man legitimately in this world, and then to bring that to pro wrestling, and then parlay that into the Hall of Pain, because at that time I was entering so many Hall of Fames in the world at that time because of my age and my longevity and my timing. The Hall of Pain era was an important thing, and so there's been a lot, man. I'm blessed to be in this spot where I've done a lot, and it would be hard to say that one over the other, but those that I named, I'm very proud of.
All right, I'm going to ask you a weird question. At least I think it's weird. Back in the days when the powerlifting and World's Strongest Man competitions, what was your eating regimen like? What all did you have to eat to maintain all that muscle?
Bro, it was rough. I don't know if you've heard about the way that the World's Strongest Men train. Part of the training is eating. There's no way to move all that weight without having an incredible base. And the heavier you are, the stronger you can be because of once the object is in motion, it stays in motion. You have to have enough mass to stop something from being in motion. So 350 pounds to 400 pounds is the norm. And some of the guys are normally like 300-pound guys, 280-pound guys. So to eat that many calories, I was consuming around 10,000 calories a day, and that's minimum. So that would be the equivalent of eating a dozen eggs, a pound of meat, and toast, pancakes, whatever it is that you have for carbs, eating a whole chicken at lunch, and eating anywhere from 24 ounces to 50 ounces of steak in the evening. And I mean, it was every day, drinking water, gallons and gallons of water, just so your body can absorb all that protein. So it was rough.
I am curious though. Did you have to buy all the food yourself, or was that the sponsor type thing?
Yes. I wish I had a sponsor. Hell, I want a sponsor now.
So do we, Mark Henry. So do we. This is Mark Henry, the world's strongest athlete, currently a member of All Elite Wrestling, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Mark, you guys are in Greensboro, North Carolina on the 22nd. About a week and a half later, you'll be in Charlotte, North Carolina. Since the return of touring, thanks to COVID shutting pretty much everything down last year. And obviously we watched as we were seeing guys wrestling in front of other wrestlers in an otherwise empty stadium. It feels so good to have people back in arenas. But for you, for the guys in the locker room to be able to get back out in front of fans, not have to cut promos with no idea what kind of response they're getting because you're cutting them to empty bleachers. What's it meant for you guys to be able to get back on the road, back in front of AEW fans around the country?
Man, it means the world to hear the fans. Which, we work for the fans. Like, to be in empty arenas was the worst. Not having that external motivation from the fans was rough. I mean, it really, really was. And wrestling is not meant to be just a spectator, just to go out and perform, and then you not feel the adulation from the crowd. I mean, it's not meant for that. And the fact that guys were able to do it was amazing. But man, thank God that we're able to have fans again, because they numb the pain, and we put ourselves through a lot of pain and injury for them and to entertain them. And it's an even trade-off to get that response.
Mark Henry is joining us here on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Got about another minute with you, Mark, before we cut you loose, because I know tonight is a huge deal with Winter is Coming. We've got, of course, Hangman Adam Page taking on Daniel Bryanson, amongst a couple of other super moments. Would you right now give me your thoughts? I know you mentioned MJF. I don't think that wrestling has seen as good of a heel as MJF in a number of decades. If you had to pick from the current crop of superstars, whether it would be Kenny Omega, who we hope will make his return from injury at some point, Bryan Danielson, Hangman Adam Page, Orange Cassidy, if you had to pick one of these guys to say, this is the embodiment of wrestling in the future, this is going to be the guy that's carrying the flag for this company over the next half decade, which one of those guys would you say is the best?
Wow. You're trying to get somebody to cuss me out today. Man, the aggression and the complete balance of Bryan Danielson is amazing. I faced him many times. His intensity, his ability to reel you in, he does not have a weakness. I feel like he is the best guy going right now. and hopefully we get the classic at Winter is coming tonight that I think we're going to get. I'm just super excited, man, about it. I know for a fact that both of these guys want to just blow the roof off the place. And, man, I don't know any other way to tell you, but, tonight is going to be special.
Mark Henry is joining us here on the Rob Brown Show, the world's strongest athlete, currently with All Elite Wrestling. They will be in Greensboro, North Carolina on the 22nd of December, then in early January back in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mark, man, I have been watching you for many years. I look forward to watching you for many more. It has been a pleasure. We appreciate you taking the time, big dog.
Man, I really appreciate y'all, man. People that love wrestling hold a special place in my heart, man. I really appreciate you doing this.
Love it. Love it. You are more than welcome, and we appreciate that time. Mark Henry from All Elite Wrestling here on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. Mark Henry, thank you very much, big dog. We will talk to you down the road. Look forward to see you in Greensboro and Charlotte.
All right, man. I'll see y'all then.
Looking forward to it. That is Mark Henry, the world's strongest athlete from All Elite Wrestling, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. I have watched that dude, Lonzo, since I was literally 10 years old, and one of the greats. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I've been watching him longer.
Yeah.
so yeah, it's so cool, man. He is so smooth. He is so cool, and what an awesome interview.
You know, you can tell the difference, Zoe, between a guy who wrestles as a job and a guy who wrestles as a passion. Mark Henry could have walked away after he left WWE and been fine, right? He could have traveled around doing cons, making some extra money. This dude has not only dived headfirst into AEW, but he has become one of its biggest champions, for lack of a better word. We are honored to have had Mark Henry of All Elite Wrestling here on the show.
Check another one off the list.
We just keep on going down. That's what happens when you're South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year. All Elite Wrestling calls you and says, when would you like Mark Henry on? Done and done. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
Naming him alternate governor and CEO of Jazz basketball. He's a longtime friend of new Jazz owner Ryan Smith. Brown Ford, I think, Mayfield tested positive for the coronavirus. Kevin Stefanski also tested positive.
Have some people have already reached out and wanted to know when we're posting that interview. So
right after the show. Yeah. Also, Aaron wrote me back and said she will get us somebody else before the Charlotte show as well. So the first week of January.
Sweet. Think MJF can do a clean interview?
Yeah. Will he? Question mark.
Not that we'll ever know, because that's not who we're going to get. Because we won't get him. We wouldn't be so lucky.
Just don't know how I would
approach the interview. Yeah. I personally would. I don't know. Would it hurt you in future interviews if you joined MJF and slamming everybody else?
You know MJF wouldn't let you. You say that like you would just be like, hey, let's buddy heal everybody. And MJF is still going to hit even you with the I'm better than you and you know it shtick.
Yeah, but I think it's a kindred spirit thing. And he would right away go, this is my guy. And I think he would. What time is it? No. Is a Jeep in the parking lot? Look down and see if you see a red Jeep. Oops. My bad. I think he talks about it on the air, so we're good. Yeah.
It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you'll actually use. All you need is 15 minutes a day, and you'll be on your way to confidently speaking a new language in just a few weeks.
Rob Brown Show, what do you want to talk about?
Real language experts using a modern conversation-based technique that makes learning fun, engaging, and best of all, memorable. It starts by teaching.
All right, what's your name?
Phrases, then sentences gradually get
All right, hang on, Mike.
Soon you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics, and with 14 languages to choose from and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll be sure to learn what matters most to you. Babbel, language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to babbel.com to try for free.
Please be mindful of the clock.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/.
Thank you, Lisa. We appreciate it. You're right. Rob's portion.
we do, Miss
Rob's portion of the interview process was just excellent. Mine was a little bit better, but you know,
There it is.
there you wanted me.
We were looking for.
And Keegan, I appreciate it, and I might reach out to you, but at the same time, I've got to. I have my own graphics guy. He was in here looking for you a second ago. It's not really my cousin, the artist who drew the thing. You know, I like to throw things his way first. QC Kinetics in the last break. Can we just stop right now?
Let's just end the show.
Let's just end the show.
Walk off.
We're done. Let's see if Mark wants to jump on early.
Alan just texted. That was really cool. Thanks for doing that. AE dub exclamation point. Lonzo's getting swayed to the AEW dark side a little more every day. Little more every day.
By the way, you can like both companies.
Little more
We've
every
talked about that. You want them both doing well. You want them competing. You want them thriving, because then we are blessed with good products.
Michael on the phone line. Let's get Michael in here real quick before we take our final break of the day. Mike, welcome to the show, big fella. Good to have you again.
How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm well. So I was all cool with what you said until, and it's what I always said. It's like you said, yeah, I get 1K, 1.2 million. It's kind of screwed up. It is what it is. Like, that's my issue with like people that like don't create systems, want to change systems, have no idea what the consequences of the system. So on a grudge, you might pay the kid, a student athlete, $1.2 million. That is what it is. I know it is what you made. It's what you've created to where somebody can, a really rich guy on Barstool can pay somebody because you got a grudge against somebody. $1.2 million to go be a student athlete. So I imagine, like, school's got to treat everybody the same. So that kid's going to show up to class every day, and there's no incentive for that for the football program to make sure that they don't fudge his grades. Like, he's still just like everybody else, right? Like, all these kids getting this money are clearly going to, like, do all the things the other students do. When they don't, that is what it is. No, it's what you made it. And if people that don't create things, they want to change them, and then when they change them, they don't really care what happens. They're just happy that something different happens.
You get the premise, Michael, but that's a really good way to not fight back against any system. Are you telling me that there's never a system that needs changes? Because I can think of a pretty easy illustrations off the top of my head where there were people who fought against those changes and went, whoa, you might have some unintended consequences. At one point, this country fought a whole ass war over one.
I understand that. I've said it before. This system worked. It worked for everybody in it because, like we've discussed, nobody left the system. Nobody messes with it. Everybody does it just like it is. And they were happy with it because you know they're happy with it because they don't leave it. And like I said, when these bad things happen, there's going to be more. Transfer market's already crazy. The school's going to be bad. There's going to be a whole bunch of negative outcomes. That is what it is. It is what people are making it.
Right, but you're saying there's a whole bunch of negative outcomes as if there are zero positive outcomes, and I think there are a lot of positive outcomes. I'm not saying the system doesn't need to be tinkered with, but to say I will do nothing for fear of unintended consequences is a good way to get yourself stuck in a rut where one side clearly has all the power.
It wasn't broken. The kids do fine. The kids get money. The kids get fed. Somebody talk about the kids eating ramen noodles. Football players, they eat ramen noodles. Those kids, I feed the football teams. They eat 2 meals before game night. They eat 2 dinners. 2 dinners. They get 1 at 5 and 1 at 9. I've done it. I've catered it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mike, we're up on the break, buddy. I appreciate it. Good call. Thank you very much. I again, like I said, the acceptance of everybody was happy because we have entire governmental organizations set up to bust monopolies, right? And why do we have entire governmental situations set up to bust monopolies? Because if one person controls the entire structure, they can do whatever they want. And it's not easy to fight against something like that. So they've created entire government agencies who have one job, and that one job is to stop monopolies from happening. There was no other option. We'll just start up. Right. We've been trying to start up another NFL competitor for decades now. How many of them have even had a chance? None. They've tried multiple times to start up new NBA leagues. How many have worked out? None. It's not easy. And in the world of sports, where we allow monopolies, where we support monopolies, guys that are on the losing end of the stick have no other options. Quick break, Twitter to wrap it up on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
QC.
QC Kinetics wants you to be able to get back to living your life without pain. I play golf, right? I love golf. I get out and try to play a couple of rounds a month at the very least. And I have noticed over the years that the golf has gone from, hey, I'm really excited to, all right, man, this is going to be a good day, but man, my back is going to hurt later today. That's why we partnered up with QC Kinetics, because their non-surgical regenerative therapies help your body to get back to healing itself the way that it used to heal. Helps your body get back, restores the healing properties that it used to have. It helps to get it back to where it can heal itself efficiently, and you don't have to take drugs. You don't have to take steroids. You don't have to be anesthetized, and you don't have to be sliced and diced. You want to know more? Of course you do. You got to go to the website, qckinetics.com, qckinetix.com, qckinetics.com, or give my friends at QC Kinetics a call at 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get that first consultation for free with our friends at QC Kinetics.
Travel west to take on the 8-5 Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert and the Chargers won the first meeting in Week 3 and can take the division lead with a win. Spiro Diaz and Ryan Harris will have all the action on Thursday Night Football.
Tomorrow night at 8, the NFL plays here on ESPN Upstate.
50% for the day.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Chappell here, serial entrepreneur with words from another happy payroll customer.
It's very easy to use. The login and the setup was extremely easy. I didn't have to call anyone for help. I was able to do it on my own. And I love the fact that I can run my payroll.
And that's it, man. Wednesday's done.
Just like that. Just like that.
easiest thing I've ever done. Why anybody doesn't use y'all, I don't know.
Visit us at patriotsoftware.com. Use promo code
Head to the office to play the entertainment machine.
Keep your time and money.
Holly, can you run back and grab that? The holidays came early for the Hendricks Boutique.
Yes, we'll be opening later.
You'll need a temp fulfillment manager to tie up the holiday loose ends.
I need some more help with the register. Somebody? Oh, sure.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast. Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
With just one spray of Microban 24, your hard surfaces are sanitized for up to 24 hours. Touch after touch after touch.
So 6 hours from now?
Still sanitized.
12 hours?
Yep.
18 hours?
We're really doing this.
24 hours.
When used as directed, one spray of Microban keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria, touch after touch for, up to 24 hours.
Wow.
Microban 24.
You know, we almost had Hangman once. Maybe. You never know.
Give me your top 3 you would want if we got to call our shot.
MJF, obviously.
Yep.
This one might shock. The next two might shock you.
Okay.
Tony Schiavone
Ooh.
and Taz.
Taz. That might be an interesting pick.
I know they're not wrestlers. Well, Taz isn't anymore, but I'd just be interested to talk to him and to Schiavone.
Stack, she said I was walking the dog, called in on my earpiece, sounded bad, rookie mistake. Won't happen again.
Gotta get that cardio in, you know.
I should start.
I believe that I've just about killed another treadmill.
Yeah.
This will be my second one.
I've made some very good clothes hanging racks out of treadmills.
The first 2 speeds no longer want to work. So all right, it's time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending on the internet, and he tells everybody what he knows about it. Kevin Owens is trending right now.
KO is trending right now because it has been reported by a couple of the dirt sheets that Kevin Owens refused to extend his contract with the WWE. And the belief is that, what?
Just let me cut you off. He resigned today.
Oh, did he now?
Yes.
Well.
And some people are very angry about it because why wouldn't he want to go to AEW? How could he possibly want to sign where he is? Come on, people. You probably got a good boatload of cash.
NIL money, baby.
There you go.
NIL money. No, I think that when it comes down to it, if he's happy in WWE with being utilized the way he's being utilized, great. I don't care if he stays. If he's happy.
Has me a little worried for day one though, because you sign that extension. Maybe Kevin Owens is the next WWE champion.
I actually thought he did a good job in his run.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Job.
I just want Big E to have a little more time with it.
Fine with that too.
All right, D, next.
Those two put on a whale of a cage match if they do it.
Sticking with wrestling because I want to. Wyndham is trending.
That, of course, the real life name of the artist formerly known as Bray Wyatt / The Fiend. It's been speculated he's showing up at AEW at some point, right? But if he does he come as The Fiend? Does he come as a spinoff of The Fiend? Does he come as Bray Wyatt? Does he come as like sweater vest Bray Wyatt? What do we get?
Well, he's the front runner right now as far as fans believing that he's going to show up tonight on Winter is Coming. And he, of course, is denying it.
I'll put mild stock into it. Of course, he's denying it anyway. Either he's denying it because it's not true, or he's denying it because he is, and he doesn't want the spoiler alert out there. Because if he shows up, that place loses its roof.
One more thing: Sam Darnold is trending.
Sam Darnold's trending because he is eligible to return from IR. We're going to talk about this tomorrow. Matt Rule had some interesting comments about Sammy D. We'll break that down tomorrow and see, is he back in the plans for the Panthers? Matt's already said that it's Cam Newton and PJ Walker the rest of the way. Will Sam get a chance to earn his spot back? Write that down tomorrow. That's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. We are out. Back tomorrow to try harder and be better on the South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year, The Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate. Audio streams.